Week 1 wraps up with an incredible doubleheader. First, we head to Calgary, where Vernon Adams Jr. makes his highly anticipated debut as the Stampeders welcome Bo Levi Mitchell to town. And fans, coaches, and players continuing to show love for Milt and his family. Great stuff, Tim White. Season debut after missing the playoffs for the first time since 2004. Stamps fans and teammates hope he can turn things around. Dominique Grimes saying he's big play VA. He'll get us back, but a former Stamp hoping to ruin the debut. Bo Levi Mitchell with a chance to not only spoil the party, but also pick up his 100th win. He would achieve that milestone faster than anyone else if he picks up the win. As we welcome you inside the CFL on TSN Studios, Kate Burness alongside Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, and Paul Lapolice as we get you set for a phenomenal doubleheader. Enoch, let's begin with this one. And look, this is an important game for both these teams.
Absolutely. It's a huge game for both these teams. They're going to need to get a great start. I mean, you talk about Bo Levi Mitchell, how he ended the season last year. If he can continue on, it'll be huge for this team to continue on the season at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Kate, you talk about VA taking over in Calgary. One thing that this defense can help them out is watching and keeping that Hamilton explosive offense down early, because they're going to go deep early and often. You don't want to have VA chasing early.
I think defensively for Calgary, they need some playmakers. You think of the last season, ninth in takeaways, 8th in net offense, 7th in sacks. They were not very good defensively. Fuller in, Arimolade comes in, Damon Webb comes in. Now, I don't know any of these other names, guys. And that might be a good thing, right? They've kind of rebuilt this whole defense. They need to start taking the football away. They need to create some plays on defense to help Vernon in the offense.
I love this. Lapo speaking for 40 seconds. You can tell who slept on this panel and who hasn't right now. Yeah, we're really looking forward to the game. Lapo's got a playbook ready to go right now. And you know what? Congratulations to the Calgary Stampeders. They're celebrating 80 years of Stamps football. And we're not going on the road anymore this season because we blew the entire budget on this beautiful-looking cake. Look at this.
Do we get to eat it, too, though?
I think our producer, Troy, baked it when he got home from Montreal. I'm kidding. We'll be on the road lots. No, this is entirely for you, Enoch. Here
Just
you go.
me?
No, share it.
Thanks,
share it with the entire team. Kickoff from McMahon coming up right after this.
Let's go. We on a mission. We on a mission to win, and now let's get it. Let's go. We on a mission. We on a mission to win, and now let's go. Let's go. We on a mission. We on a mission to win, and now let's go. Let's get it. We on a mission. We on a mission to win, and now let's go. Let's get it.
Shannon Froland of Victoria, BC. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 Million touchdown to win. If the kickoff is return for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year of 2 kickoffs. So return for touchdowns in this game. You could also win $1 million. Good luck, Shannon. Let's get you to Calgary and join Marshall Ferguson and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Kate, and welcome coast to coast on CTV and TSN as smoke swirls in the Calgary foothills. The clarity these two playoff star franchises are searching for could lay in their big-name offseason acquisitions. As we welcome you to McMahon Stadium, Marshall Ferguson, Dwayne Ford, Tom Gazzola down at field level for us here throughout the evening. The biggest acquisition of them all, arguably, going into week one here, of course, Dwayne, is Vernon Adams Jr.
Yeah, Calgary Stampeders looking to change things up at the quarterback position. Get someone who is a little more mobile in the pocket, could extend some plays, and bring that big play ability that Vernon Adams has demonstrated throughout his career. And of course, Bo Levi Mitchell, the East Division's most outstanding player a year ago. Slow start to the season, but he caught fire. He's got a couple of new weapons around him this year, and we're excited to see both of these offenses, and particularly these quarterbacks, in action.
Yeah, Scott Milanovic certainly hoping that he can upgrade this talent across the board. They think they've done that this offseason. And of course, Dave Dickinson trying to set the culture right, get things rolling here right from the very beginning. It was lonely days at the end of last season as they won their last game, and they're hoping to start with a victory here at home, celebrating 80 years of Stamps football as they'll return the opening kick across the 20, out to the 25, and it is Vernon Adams Jr. who gets the opportunity to touch the football first, number 8 on the TSN Top 50.
And Vernon Adams, you think back to the start of 2024, terrific opening to the season for Vernon Adams Jr. in BC. Eventually lost that starting job when Nathan Rourke came back. This is the reason he was available to the Calgary Stampeders. An early off-season trade finds him in red and white.
Despite Damian Alford being out, the #1 overall pick in the 2025 CFL draft, plenty of catch radius all around VA as he looks to throw on first down immediately. Rips this one out. Who else? Reggie Beggleton. And the Beggle Man is back in business here as he extends his catch streak. Came in with 70 straight going into this game.
Well, good protection here for Vernon Adams Jr. to start the game. Plenty of time. He's able to step up, deliver a strike to Reggie Beggleton. Mr. Consistency out in the flat. A good sign for the Calgary Stampeders if these two teammates for the first time in their careers can find a little bit of chemistry.
First down on first down. Now VA goes to the running game, and it's Dietrich Mills cutting it back out to the 42-yard line. And stacked up there as Tywin Garbutt steps in and makes the stop after a gain of 3.
And keep an eye coming left to right on your screen. Number 15, Dominique Grimes. Perennial 1,000-yard receiver here in the Canadian Football League, but doing a little bit of dirty work in the run game. Getting involved with the cut block on the defensive end on the backside.
Casey Sales up to his old tricks in the backfield too, making a cut back lane force that time for Dietrich Mills as he gets it going early in week 1 here. These teams played in week 1 last season as well, right here at McMahon, as Vernon looks downfield, tries to step out of the pocket, looks downfield, wide open at the Hamilton 50, now 45, and rolling his way inside the 40. It's the first catch of the season for Clark Barnes.
There's Vernon Adams demonstrating a little bit of that mobility that we talked about off the top. Defensive lineman at his feet, he's able to maneuver around in that pocket and find an outlet in Clark Barnes, University of Guelph product on the sideline.
Former third-round pick, 16 games played last year, 71 targets. He's 1 for 1 right now. Blitz coming from the Tiger Cats. VA gets it out quickly, and it's Beggleton down to the 30 as he looks for the first down marker. Had to get to the 29, and he'll get it. It is another first down for the Calgary Stampeders. Here's what their starting offense looks like.
Yeah, some consistency along that offensive line, though, with the departure of Sean McEwen at center in free agency. Bryce Bell takes over. Snapping the ball, we mentioned Dominique Grimes. He and Vernon Adams had some good times through parts of 2 seasons in BC. Comes over from Ottawa in the offseason to rejoin his old battery mate.
We'll line up all receivers to the left, hand it off, and it is right down the chute with a nice stop that time. Kyle Wilson stepping in to make the stop. Here's the Hamilton starting defense to begin week 1.
Yeah, no surprise that a series into this ball game, we've already called the name Casey Sales. All-star performer on that defensive line. Lots of new faces around him. Kyle Wilson makes a start in the middle. We've seen him a lot at the weak side linebacker spot in the past. One of the big free agent signings for Toronto, or for Hamilton rather, and shoring up their secondary. Bring over Deshaun Amos, field halfback from Toronto.
4 receivers to the left of Vernon Adams Jr. He'll shift out of the pocket once again. Eyes downfield, throws it up, It's Rhymes! Touchdown, but there is a flag down. And Deshaun Amos believes it's a push-off against Rhymes.
Offensive pass interference. Calgary, number 15. 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat second down.
Well, you know VA is going to give him a chance, every chance he possibly can, Dwayne.
Yeah, no question. Dominique Rhymes, big target. We've seen him in these situations so often. A little bit of a height advantage on the defender. Battle happening down there. I'm not sure how much he really threw Deshaun Amos aside, but enough contact there, yeah. I think a lot of that, quite honestly, I felt was Amos's momentum running towards the sideline, and Rhymes playing Matador there a little bit, sidesteps him, but the officials see enough contact to negate the touchdown.
Seventh play of the drive here for the Calgary Stampeders. Bit of an awkward, clunky play in there, but it does go against the Calgary Stampeders. So Vernon back to work, finds Reggie Begelton inside the 20 and drives the feed all the way down to the 13-yard line. His third catch already in the opening drive of the ballgame.
And as you see the cluster of receivers coming out, Begelton, number 84, the trailer. Philpott clears for him. Begelton sits it down for a quick hitter, and such a good sign for this Calgary offense. You consider a guy like Reggie Begelton has been here forever, but all new at the quarterback position. You add a couple new receivers, notably Dominique Rhymes, to the mix. You're not sure how the chemistry is going to be.
Emptied out, go with a quick screen here. Clark Barnes trying to get to the outside, run away from the defensive line, rolls his way down inside the 5. And Vernon now 5 for 5 on his opening drive as the Calgary Stampeders starting quarterback. And this one just getting it out of the hand, accurate and quick.
Yeah, mixing it up in terms of the drops for Vernon Adams. Here, as you said, Marsh, just a quick hitter. Let Clark Barnes go to work. Barnes, a terrific kick returner at the start of his career at the University of Guelph, developed into a fantastic receiver, but using some of that running with the ball ability after the catch there.
Stamps first-round pick this year. Chris Fortin is in the game as an extra offensive lineman. They go heavy. They'll hand it off. Dietrich Mills, bully ball into the end zone. And Calgary begins the Vernon Adams Jr. era with a touchdown.
A tremendous start here for the Calgary Stampeders offense. Looking potent, slinging the ball around the field and getting it done on the ground with Dietrich Mills to finish it off.
That looked almost exactly like when Vernon was out on the field 5 hours before kickoff, just walking his way all the way down the field, mimicking where he was going to go with the football, having all the right answers, and even had to overcome the offensive pass interference. So 9 plays, 85 yards in a little over 5 minutes with a swirling wind here at McMahon Stadium. The extra point is good from the ageless one, Rene Paredes, with Dietrich Mills. A little bit of thunder and lightning with the quick feed of Vernon Adams Jr. Oh, all thunder into the end zone here in a quick 7-0 lead for the Calgary Stampeders. Well, I'm not sure this is the way the Hamilton Tiger Cats wanted to start their season, but Vernon Adams Jr. and the Calgary Stampeders, whether it was outside, inside, in zone, in man, running the football, throwing the football, they did pretty much anything they wanted in that opening drive, right?
Yeah, spreading the ball around. Lots of weapons in this offense for Vernon Adams. Some continuity on the offensive line. We saw pretty good protection from the big boys up front, allowing Vernon to do his thing. And Dietrich Mills punches it home to end the drive.
6 different players for the Hamilton Tiger Cats had defensive tackles on that drive. The only one that had more than one is Brendan Dozier. So he's a former Calgary Stampeder as the ball rolls off the tee here. Rene Paredes, rather blustery afternoon in Calgary is they'll try to send it away, but now they'll have to send in somebody to hold this for Rene.
You were so hyped up for that kickoff.
I couldn't wait. Yeah. I mean, it felt like Paredes was really trying to rush that thing just so he could get back up onto the tee and hammer it. I honestly think this is one of the most athletic things that exists in professional football.
You've mentioned this
holding the kick and then having to chase it. Get going. As Hamilton gets their first touch of 2025 here in Week 1 action in the CFL. And to the outside, it is Wooden. And he'll get dragged down. Isaiah Wooden on a nice return across the 35-yard line, and out comes what is now the 14-year veteran looking for win number 100 here this evening, Bo Levi Mitchell.
And in such familiar surroundings to be here at McMahon Stadium on opening day. Did it last season as a member of the Tiger Cats as well, and obviously for a number of years as a Stampeder.
Two-time Grey Cup champion with the Stamps will begin through the air, looks inside out, flips this one down underneath, and why not? Right away, go to your big acquisition for a gain of 13. There's Kenny Lawler immediately.
And no surprise, Lawler starts off on the outside. He's going to work underneath. Here, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Established himself, not surprisingly, in the preseason as a go-to guy for Bo Levi Mitchell.
And speaking of preseason, we saw a lot of this from the Tiger Cats in their preseason. A little hurry up and wait, get to the line as they fake the pitch. Bo works the pocket, looks to his left, flips it down the field, up in the air, and there is a flag down behind the play. And I think there was late contact on Bo Levi Mitchell as the pass rush a little bit too excited trying to get to the old Stampeder.
Might have been Clarence Hicks.
Roughing the passer, Calgary, number 12. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Hicks has the call going against him as our referee Justin McInnes makes the call.
You see Hicks coming from that left defensive end position as Mitchell starts to slide out of the pocket. He closes and just wanted to let him know he was there, but with a little bit too much gusto.
Bo did say in the preseason he liked having to go through a little bit of adversity, get in, make some throws, miss some throws, get a couple of hits. Well, here's the regular season. Now it's for real. They'll go speed sweep around the edge. And Keandre Smith, what a great play, trying to make up for it immediately is Hicks.
How about that redemption? Hicks reading the play and bursting through the line. Just shot through his gap to bring down Keandre Smith in the backfield.
Sends Hamilton back 5 yards, 2nd and 15 now. Lone receiver to the right of Bo for now is Kenny Lawler. They talked about doing these 4x1 sets, the gravitational pull of Kenny Lawler. What mismatches can they create? Bo will look to the field, flips it over the top. Brendan O'Leary Orange makes the grab. It's a decent chunk back, but it'll set them up with what looks like 3rd and about 3. And the field goal unit comes off the sideline with Mark Leggio.
And interesting in that 4x1 set, as you mentioned, giving the single receiver the wide side of the field. All sorts of room to work, but checking it back down. O'Leary Orange. His 2nd year with the Ticats, originally a Winnipeg Blue Bomber draftee. As was kicker Mark Leggio.
Mark Leggio, 89.6% last year, number 2 all-time in Hamilton franchise history, behind only Seth Small. It was 90% in 2022, and Leggio begins the year on point. So 33-4-3. Vernon Adams Jr. gets his 2nd touch of the rock when he returns to the field in just a moment. What a journey it's been to get here to Calgary. Might be the perfect situation for him. We'll see how he does when we return to Calgary. Vernon Adams Jr., the 8th different quarterback since 2000, when Dave Dickinson was the quarterback here in Calgary to get the opening game assignment for Calgary. And he has been here, there, and everywhere. 5 different teams now in his CFL journey, but last year with BC is what made him so attractive via trade this offseason.
Yeah, and I would say not just statistically what Adams did is there's a handoff again to Dedrick Mills getting that running game going. But not just what he did statistically, but I think for Vernon Adams also how he carried himself when he lost his starting position.
Yep.
And I think it was just something that impressed a lot of people around the league, quite frankly, in terms of his character, his leadership, etc. That added to, obviously, an already attractive commodity for other teams.
Jamal Peters is down, and we'll get some attention from the Hamilton training staff. But the Calgary Starters, you see since 2000, Dave Dickinson, Ben Sankey, Marcus Crandall signing a one-day contract to retire as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. Of course, Smilin' Hank, and Drew Tate, Bo, Jake Mayer, and now Vernon Adams Jr. But to your point, Dwayne, not just the way that he carried himself, I also think the fact that this is an organization that obviously needed a spark. There is no quarterback who is sparkier, if you want to use that as an adjective, than Vernon Adams Jr. He is the ultimate spark plug, and he is someone who, according to everyone in this facility, came into training camp and the energy has just been off the charts because he brings the juice every single day.
Yeah, and not just energy, but also that ability to bring people together.
Talked about doing the rookie show together and buying the wings and the drinks for the guys and getting everybody around the table, have some fun, get to know each other. And here he is on game day week 1 with a hard count, draws them offside, and now goes to the backside. Another completed pass up to the 55.
It looked like one of his receivers might have been the first to go here. We'll see which way the call goes.
Completed to Tevin Jones for now. On a gain of 6 yards, they're spotting the football. We'll see what the call is from Justin McInnes.
Offside, Hamilton, number 44. Penalty is declined, first down.
So Casey Sales, the guilty party on that one. And they will line up 1st and 10. Again, using some of the big body fullback sets as well. Extra offensive linemen, shifted pieces around. They tease you with the running game, but VA has the ability to sling it outside like this anytime as he goes back to Tevin Jones. A little bit more love there to the man filling in for Malik Henry, who's still out with the injury.
You'll see another cluster look. Tevin Jones, the man in behind, number 4, big target. Get Rhymes and Barnes leading the way for him. Love the bounce back that Tevin Jones had last season. Had signed with Montreal after kind of a breakout year in Saskatchewan, or at least a breakout half year in Saskatchewan in 23. Quiet second half, signs with Montreal, released in camp, but found his way in Edmonton.
Pressure on here. VA has to get it out quickly, and popped is Jalen Philpott. There's contact made from behind. Jonathan Moxey right there, but Philpott hangs onto it for another Calgary first down. They'll move the sticks.
Jalen Philpott working out of the slot. This time into the boundary. Often he and Barnes to the field side.
Starting to feel like the only incompletion Vernon's going to have is if he throws it away. Trying to be smart with the football. 9 for 9 for 105 yards right now. Clark Barnes motions behind the line of scrimmage, and the run blitz was on that time. VA staring that one down, going, maybe I should have pulled that and gotten to the edge. But man, Hamilton was all over it.
Taiwan Garbett from the left side of your screen just slices down inside. Make that play in the backfield. The former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, one of many who found his way to Hamilton in free agency.
A different looking front here for the Tiger Cats. They'll rush 3, have a couple of quarterback spies. Now trying to give chase and get after. VA is one of those spies. And Vernon runs him, and it Supermans towards the first down marker. Looks like he came up a little bit shy. But the entertainment value full for the fans of McMahon.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they award style yardage for the big finish here? A little high step by Adams, recognizing he's trying to keep his momentum going forward. Nice effort there from the veteran quarterback, but he'll be just short.
It is one of the first times that we've seen a true spy being used on VA so far in this game. So comes up short. Rene Paredes comes out. It's 14 points, now down to 11, maybe 10 after this. in order to reach 2,300 in his illustrious careers. For the 11th time, he's been elected by his teammates as the special teams captain of the Calgary Stampeders. Paredes up and through. And hang another one on the board for number 30 as Bo Levi Mitchell and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, hoping to be the most explosive offense right out of the start of the season. They'll get another opportunity when we return after this. Well, there's only room for one Bo Levi in this town. Bo Levi Mitchell, third all-time winning percentage behind Dave Dickinson and Doug Flutie. But you see the numbers, they speak for themselves. And now he's made the switch over to Steeltown. And man, what a season it was, despite the fact that he got benched. And he still had to come back after that one game in week 11 when Taylor Powell replaced him and went on a crazy run in the second half. Almost the MOP as this one goes off the hands of Kenny Lawler, incomplete. But the Hamilton Tiger Cats offense led by Bo Levi Mitchell looks like this.
Yeah, along that offensive line, veteran group, Liam Dobson comes over from Winnipeg. He steps in at right guard. Coulter Woodmansey moves over to center to replace David Beard. We've seen plenty of Kenny Lawler, of course, one of the biggest names to move in free agency. The kind of big target that Bo Levi Mitchell likes.
Bo shifts to the right, checks it down. Greg Bell gets his hands on the rock, out to the 50. And that's right up next to the first down marker. Looks like it should be good enough, and it is. They'll move the chains and send in the big packager. Giovanni Robinson and Antti Litre come off the sideline.
Yeah, and credit Greg Bell for making a couple of would-be tacklers work to get there as he fights to pick up that first down.
Greg Bell is a fall forward kind of guy, isn't he, Wayne? Not a whole lot of going backwards at the end of his run. So Bo on 1st and 10 with 2:20 remaining in this first quarter. Looks to the backside and a big back-breaking move that time from Tim White. Looked like he was going to the post and slammed on the anchors back to the sideline for a gain of 21.
Yeah, there you see Tim White lined up out wide. Little ankle breaker there from number 12.
Adrian Green getting the start over Ben LaBrosse at field corner here for the Calgary Stampeders tonight. The Toronto native first 3 seasons with BC, and Green gets his hands on Tim White at the end. Now a double move. Keandre Smith as Bo lays it up on the sideline. And again, Green right there on coverage as the Calgary defense with Green in the lineup looks like this.
Yeah, up front. Again, so many names moving in the CFL offseason, but significant trade brings Flo Orimolade back to town. Derek Moncrief, the veteran, comes in to take over that Sam or nickel linebacker spot. And Damon Webb, 5 interceptions with Ottawa last season. Played halfback for them. He's going to start the season at safety here in Calgary. Relatively inexperienced group, so they'll be leaning on Webb a lot on the back end.
Yeah, a lot of movement across the league. I'm not sure there's any unit that has more movement than this Calgary defense as Bo stares it down, now rips it out to the sideline. And it is Greg Bell just hanging out, waiting for his opportunity there, and Bo finds him. So close to a gain of 10. Should be close enough that they'll think about short yardage here, but nice work in the pocket by Mitchell.
And you see them getting Bell out of the backfield, hoping to get a matchup situation on a linebacker. Jacob Roberts, will linebacker, weak side linebacker, doing a nice job making that tackle in space against a shifty runner.
Antti Litre is in as the short yardage quarterback. He'll drive the legs forward as the fullback at the controls of the Hamilton short yardage offense gets that with ease.
And made himself somewhat indispensable in that role last year. Now he'll line up as a tight end. Mr. Versatility in this Cats offense.
Go double tights here. Kenny Lawler, the lone man to the top of your screen. Keandre Smith and Tim White at the bottom. Mitchell hands Hands it off. Greg Bell jump cuts back into the middle. And nice rallying defense that time. Maybe to wrap up number 5 for a gain of 4.
A sharp cut there from Bell to get north-south. Revamped Calgary linebacking core. We saw Jacob Roberts, the weak side, Markel Lee. In the middle of that unit, Micah Awe and Cameron Judge having departed in the offseason.
Final play of the quarter, barring penalty, they'll empty it out for Mitchell here. He looks over the middle. John Gray Smith makes the grab and gets wrapped up on second down. Not able to get up to that 15-yard line required for the first down. So that will do it for the first quarter. On the 8th play of the drive, Mitchell hands on hips, still waiting for a major in his second return back to McMahon Stadium in front of fans who supported him for oh so long. But the pleasantries, they're over. Mitchell comes in just wanting to get a win. But you know Vernon Adams Jr. has something to say about that. The anniversary celebrations, 80 years strong for the Calgary Stampeders. It has been a special event all day long here in Calgary, and none other than Doug Flutie alongside many other alumni of the organization. Alex Singleton banging the drum here earlier on today, and a great standing ovation in this first quarter for this guy. Needs no introduction, but of course, the all-time great. It is Doug Flutie joining us in the booth. Doug, great to have you here.
Oh, it's awesome being back in Calgary. The fans are great. It's a great atmosphere. Seeing the old buddies, it's pretty cool.
You had a lot of success in a lot of different places, but you keep coming back to Calgary. What is it about this place that keeps bringing you back?
Well, I spent 4 years here. We threw for a heck of a lot of yards, scored a lot of points, and had a lot of fun. And the guys, the atmosphere, it was just, it rekindled my enjoyment of playing football, being here in Calgary. It really did. And it was just pure fun. There's Alan Pitts. I mean, you got Alan Pitts on your team, right? Throw the ball at 18, it's all good. But just so much fun. We got together with a bunch of the old teammates last night for dinner and in the afternoon. It's just a great class reunion.
Lucky to have Doug hang out with us here for a couple of minutes as we get a chance to watch Hamilton knock some more points on the board as Bo Levi Mitchell leads a drive down the field. That one's good from 25 yards out. But Dwayne, I know you had a chance to speak with Doug as well last night, catch up a little bit. You both share, of course, being a part of the Calgary Stampeders organization here on the 80th birthday celebration.
Yeah, well, I can't help but wondering if you have a most memorable moment from your time in red and white.
You know, I guess the play is running it into the end zone with the shoe flying off to win the Western Final. But it was that drive. Our defense, with a minute to go, made a sack on Tracy Ham, got the ball back for us. He gave us one last chance. Sponge made a big play. Big play in the drive was hitting Alan Pitts. So it was a whole drive there. Those moments. And I rewatched it before I came back, and the emotion and passion of the guys hugging on the sideline, the locker room scene, how close you are with your teammates is what's so memorable.
We see Vernon Adams Jr. handing off. Jalen Philpott getting a touch around the edge. Gets popped after a solid game. But let's talk about the Grey Cup a little bit and the experience of being able to bring something so special home here to Calgary.
Well, I think Winnipeg blitzed our tail off, and we lit them up down the field all day, and it was unbelievable. Dave Sapunjas pointed it out to me and Stu Laird that Calgary had not won a Grey Cup in 25 years. So that's what made it so darn special. Plus, they brought me over from British Columbia, paid me a lot of money. Trust me, I felt the pressure. We had to win, and it just felt that way. And the guys step up, and it was a complete team effort. I mean, we had a great defense. Mark McLaughlin kicking field goals for us. It was amazing.
McLaughlin here in person as well, as there was a holding call on that Jalen Philpott carry around the edge. Now they'll hand it off to Jesper Antwi up the pipe, trying to get some of the yardage back. But when I look back at so much of what you were able to do in your time here in Calgary, what do you think it is that endeared you to people so quickly and still so passionately all this time later?
Well, the number one thing that I found over the years was I was the little guy, always the little guy, and people tend to cheer for me. But winning is being, I don't know, familiar with the fans and interacting and being out in public and trying to be a regular guy and get to know the fan base was huge. And people still remember moments from whether it went and talked to a school and the kids were meeting you or whatnot.
Well, you mentioned coming over from BC and trying to take a Calgary team over the top. Same kind of path that Vernon Adams Jr. has followed this year. Any particular advice you would have for him in this situation?
Just lead your guy. Lead your guys. He is a tremendous athlete. I'm surprised, being on the sideline, seeing how well he's throwing the ball. He threw the ball exceptionally well into the wind. He's got the wind at his back this quarter. He throws the ball a lot better than I thought he did, and he's just a tremendous athlete. And the number one thing is lead your guys with confidence.
Dominic Grimes got the catch. That's his first of the ball game. A play ago and a pickup here of 4 for Jejron Antwi. But yeah, being able to see Vernon Adams Jr. It was funny hearing Dave Dickinson say to us earlier on this week just the idea of, well, for the first time probably since Henry Burris was here, Calgary has a mobile quarterback room again, not just one guy, a room, and that's one of those things that you just can't replace in this league.
It opens up the field, and you use your quarterback as a runner. He can buy time on, when something isn't there. I was talking with Dave Dickinson yesterday about Hamilton will go a 2 or 3 man rush. Vernon, hold on to the ball, move around. Here's a strong side blitz. Got to get rid of it.
It's popped by Kyle Wilson over the middle, and Stavros Katsantonis has the rock in his hands out to the 40. So Hamilton gets a turnover. And Stavros Katsantonis gives Hamilton exactly what it needs for some momentum. Doug, great to have you in the booth. Thank you for stopping by.
So much fun being back around the CFL and the Calgary Stamps.
Fantastic. Stop by again soon as the Hamilton Tiger Cats making plays and in possession, trailing by 4.
A big pick there for Stavros Katsantonis.
Love you, Mom.
Number 1 on the season. You heard Doug Flutie call it. Blitz coming off the strong side. Doug saw it. Vernon Adams saw it. He knows he's got to get the ball out quickly. He's anticipating an adjustment from his receiver to take the middle there. Ball is thrown a little short. Katsantonis able to step in front of it, and the Bakersfield Bandit has his first of 2025.
He's got a habit of finding the rock, and once again, able to sniff it out with the pressure. Brent Monson dialing it up that time, trying to get after Vernon Adams Jr., forced the error, and Hamilton takes advantage. Now the question becomes, can they get this explosive offense going that's been highly touted throughout the offseason, preseason?
Yeah, still finding their way together. Maybe you would have anticipated Hamilton adding Lawler, but other than that, a lot of pieces still in place from last season.
4-man rush here. Mitchell steps up underneath. Brendan O'Leary-Orange has been a bit of a security blanket early on for Bo, but on 2nd and 10, that'll be a gain of 6, maybe 7. And that will send out the punting unit, so they can't take advantage, but they'll try to flip field position, even though it's into the wind, which was really difficult in warm-up for the punters.
Always a challenge. Certainly both for kickers and quarterbacks dealing with that situation, but both QBs have thrown the ball well thus far.
And Constantino dribbles this one down into that headwind that I spoke about, and now the return trying to get outside as Eric Brooks wrapped up and thrown down after a 39-yard punt. Mac Bannatyne down the field making the special teams tackle as Vernon Adams Jr. tries to bounce back from his first incompletion of the ball game. It was an interception. He'll try to make it right when we return. No team scored less points last year than the Calgary Stampeders, 410. There's a lot of moves and a lot of different positions on both sides of the ball, but perhaps none is more important than Vernon Adams Jr. Tom Gazzola has more.
Yeah, Marshall, you saw VA on the bench here going, that's on me on that last series. He understands the levity of trying to turn this Stamps franchise around. 5-12-1 last year. He's the big free agent pickup, or trading, I should say. And he says he wants that pressure. He wants to help this Stamps team get it back together. And when you ask him, how do you make that happen? He says off-field chemistry is huge for him, and he wants to build that quickly. He genuinely wants to get to know everyone from the staff to his teammates, what makes them tick, what motivates them to want to win in that locker room. And then, of course, he needs a little help from his friends, too. And you say, who do you lean on? He goes, Dominic Grimes. He was my guy in BC when I got there. He welcomed me in, and the two of them are trying to make it happen here in Calgary, guys.
Absolutely, Tom, as VA takes a pop to the backside. Dustin Talbert was in on the blitz, almost clean that time. It does get it out of his hands to Clark Barnes on another reception, but it is kind of the charming part of VA as we see the replay here, Dwayne. He wants to learn what makes all these guys tick.
Yeah, as you see, Adams right on point there, recognizing blitz coming. He's got to get that out quickly. But yeah, this has very much become a part of who Vernon Adams is, and I think a big part of his maturation in the Canadian Football League is sort of understanding team as family.
Certainly, maybe his time in Montreal, BC, educated him on that. Carries it here to Calgary. Is nice hard run that time. Dedrick Mills getting the wheels turning once again in his 4th year at Nebraska.
Vernon Adams having a terrific day thus far, interception aside, throwing the football, but Dedrick Mills having a nice start to 2025 as well.
A lot of these heavy sets for the Calgary Stampeders. Chris Fortin, again, the first-round pick out of UConn, came off the field after that last snap, but they still go heavy, look inside, and try to force the issue with the interior of that Hamilton defensive line. Force them to step up and get a stop. They do that time, hold them to 3, but a lot of new names on the inside there. Is no longer is it just the Ted Laurents of the world that you knew for so long. 15 years, we're always going to be holding it down in 97. It's the Fox and Kendricks, and Sales has been in there for a couple of years, but Brent Monson trying to dial this thing up for them in his first time back playing against Calgary. Hamilton shows pressure this time, and again they'll send the blitz off the edge. VA throws right into it. Jalen Philpott right there, and looks like he couldn't hang on to it, so punting unit comes out. Monson super aggressive here in the second quarter.
Yeah, trying to mix things up, change up that tempo. But Adams doing a nice job in terms of recognition. Execution a little bit off on that play as he comes up a little short on the throw. Philpott unable to haul that one in down close to the turf.
Isaiah Wood back to return. The Tiger Cats here is this one with the help of the wind. Oh, get out the pitching wedge that time. A 68-yard punt for Fraser Muzzin, the first overall pick in the global draft this year out of Brisbane, Australia. Dribbles it down the sideline as the Calgary Stampeders trying to hold on to home turf, something they struggled to do so much of last year, but off to a good start, up by 4. Well, we don't get many blockbuster offseason trades in the Canadian Football League, but the Stampeders were in on just about all of them, it seemed like, this year, is trading for Folarin Arimolade to get him back for Cam Judge, who went to the Toronto Argonauts, where Flo was, back to where it all began for N number 90.
Yeah, and it was interesting to hear Dave Dickinson talk about the reacquisition of Arimolade. As he said, this was a guy we never wanted to lose. We never wanted to see him leave, but got an outstanding contract offer from Toronto that they just weren't in a position to match at that time. But this is one of the elite pass rushers in the Canadian Football League. As Dave Dickinson said, offensively, game is about protecting the quarterback, and defensively, it's about getting after him, and Flo can do that with the best.
No doubt. He's going to try to run the football here, get a little bit of breathing room for the Hamilton offense. They'll pick up 3, maybe 4 yards on the play, but also just in terms of leadership in the locker room, we talk about a core of Rennie Paredes, Reggie Begelton, Vernon Adams Jr. acquiring him, Folarin Arimolade. It's obvious that they were trying to get some voices in that room they could lean on to lead the huddles, and Arimolade will do that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever word you want to use, whether culture, environment, whatever it is, I'm a huge believer, as clearly Dave Dickinson is as well, it's important.
Yeah.
In terms of having success.
Derek Moncrief, on and on the list goes of names they brought in to try and upgrade that part of this team. Is underneath, they go to Tim White, and he skirts his way out. What looks like about the 12-yard line there. And they will move the chains, so Bo flipping it underneath, and Tim White getting the job done.
Yeah, it's been interesting through training camp, through the offseason, to hear the talk about this Hamilton team, Hamilton offense. And everyone talks about the combination of Kenny Lawler and Tim White in the passing game. Like, Keandre Smith and Shamar Bridges were 900-yard guys a year ago as well.
Like everybody had 900-plus yards just because of how many yards Bo Levi Mitchell was thrown for last year. Just a wild season, especially in the second half. Is this one up for grabs? And Lawler, somehow in between 3 different red uniforms, linebackers and DBs all included, came down with that one.
Yeah, tremendous contested catch guy All part of the total package that Kenny Lawler is as a receiver. Going up and getting that one in traffic.
Interesting to hear Scott Milanovic say the last 2 weeks, Bo's been really good, put the ball where it needs to be. The first week, he just kind of put the ball places it probably shouldn't go because he wasn't getting hit. So he settled into the actual training camp mode. Seems like he's ready for live reps here today. They'll flip it out. Right side screen. Adrian Green pushes Tim White out of bounds. It's up around the 30-yard line. They'll spot it back at the 29, but third catch for Tim White, who has now crossed 300 in his career.
Yeah, Kenny Lawler, the lead blocker on this one. You're going to see Adrian Green, the corner, out to that side, does a nice job shedding the block. Fighting to make a play. Wrestling Tim White out of bounds.
Second down and 6. Four-man rush. Bo checks it underneath. Can Greg Bell make magic? No, can't go anywhere. Great defense that time from the Stampeders. They forced the issue, and Mitchell taking a look around to see where he could have gone with the football to try and pick it up, but he'll have to head to the sideline again.
And decent protection from that Hamilton offensive line, but good coverage on the back end for the Stampeders. Forces the check down. The limited gain there.
Not many people are going to get away from Damon Webb when they catch the football flat-footed. He's coming downhill from free safety, but under control. Great tackler in open spaces. We saw a boundary halfback for the Ottawa Redblacks last couple of seasons as Nick Constantino sends this one high away into the drifting wind. Will be caught. Eric Brooks carries it out to the 47-yard line.
Power, precision, performance. The Lincoln Navigator Cup. Who will have their mic drop moment? July 1st, only on TSN.
4-point advantage for the Calgary Stampeders here. That great opening drive to get the ball game going. Bo Levi Mitchell and the Tiger Cats, a lot of checkdowns, a lot of underneath throws. Unable to find that explosive offense that was vaunted going into this one, but still plenty of time to get it rolling with 5.5 minutes remaining in this first half. As Vernon with the wind at his back, as Doug Flutie accurately described, will hand it off. And Dedrick Mills breaks across midfield, runs through a tackler, and finally Stavros Katsantonis gets just enough to bring him down. But it's a gain of 24 yards for Dedrick Mills.
And I've been impressed by the Stampeders' ability to get it done in different ways here. Offensively, it was Vernon Adams rolling with the passing game early on, but here in the second quarter, interestingly enough, with the wind, feeding the rock to Dedrick Mills, and Mills making the Hamilton defense pay.
Body on a body inside there. The Canadians, Zach Williams, Bryce Bell, Christian Kanu, they all got their spot. Now Jedrin Antwi gets his taste. He stiff arms, runs through a tackler. Got a chance to see Jedrin before the game. I said, hey, you been lifted or something? I mean, I get all these guys work hard in the offseason, but man, he just absolute specimen, the former Calgary Dino, 2019 Vanier Cup champion, 2023 Grey Cup champ with the Montreal Alouettes, and finding his way home.
Yeah, traded late last season by Montreal to BC, finished up the season with the Lions before coming back to Calgary as a free agent. This is where he went to high school and played his college ball.
Excited to play his pro ball here as well as Hamilton sends the blitz. VA gets his arm hit. It's up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Picked off by the Tiger Cats. Jonathan Moxey cuts across the 40 and finally rolls down at the 45. So 2 first-half interceptions for Vernon Adams Jr. And a late flag comes out along the sideline as well.
Hamilton having some success. Getting Vernon Adams out of rhythm with that blitz game here in the second quarter. You see Jonathan Moxey back at his natural position, playing the field corner spot this year. He spent a lot of last year at the nickel linebacker position. Watch right there, safety Stavros Katsantonis.
We have a 10-yard misconduct penalty against Hamilton number 6. It'll be first down Hamilton.
Perhaps a lack of recognition or failure to communicate on that Calgary offensive line with Katsantonis coming on the interior. You want to squeeze, you want to block the inside gaps, block the shortest line to the quarterback. If you got to leave somebody free when you're outnumbered, you leave the widest guys. That obviously didn't happen that time, and Katsantonis affects the play.
Levi Mitchell, backside screen here to Greg Bell. Brandon Redberg trying to get a body into space. What a great tackle that time. A ton of space. As Sheldon Arnold came up and made the play, as Bo Levi Mitchell moving up into 11th all-time in the CFL's passing yardage ranks. And next up is Tracy Ham, but what a legend, he just passed Tom Clements.
Yeah, a great bunch of names on that list. Bo certainly among them. A couple MOP awards in his career, a couple Grey Cups.
It was interesting to hear him say this offseason. He started doing the calculations a couple years ago. How can I get to the very top? And then he said, I don't think I'm getting there. So it's time to focus on other things. Wants to win a Grey Cup here with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Is underneath. Keandre Smith makes the grab. It goes for another first down. And Hamilton trying to get this offense rolling as Mitchell gets them to the line quickly.
I like that play from Keandre Smith. Now becoming a young veteran in this league. Working back to the football, working back into open space to make himself available to his quarterback.
We have hit the 3-minute warning, so the Hamilton Tiger Cats will have a chance to take their first lead of the ball game when we return in possession of the football with a fresh set of downs.
Coming up at half, we're going to break down VA's great start, which has now gone downhill a little bit. We'll break down the All-Canadian QB matchup. And by the way, with everyone changing their names, is it McMahon Stadium or MacMahon Stadium? We know? We know this? I don't know.
He read my mind. I was going to open the entire broadcast with "Welcome to MacMahon Stadium." Deontay changing up the name on us. That's okay. We'll get it right for you. There's Toronto up against these Stampeders next week in Week 2 action, but plenty of football before we get there as they go with a little end around to the speedster, Tim White. Antti Litre out front gets a good block, and a nice job by Shamar Bridges downfield as well. And now a flag for a late hit out of bounds. And so Hamilton will get even more yardage.
Nice execution on the play. You're going to see Litre starts off this way and nice
Unnecessary
pivot back.
roughness, Calgary, number 38. 15 yards from the end of the play, first down.
Litre doing a nice job getting out in front as the Ticats manage to get the edge here. Finding different ways to put the ball in the hands of Tim White. There you see that late contact.
14 on the little flip to Tim White, 15 on the penalty, 29 yards gained on that play. 2:39 remaining in this first half. Hamilton flips the formation. Lawler to the bottom of your screen. He'll hand it off. Greg Bell dives his way down inside for a gain of 6.
Number 5, Greg Bell, brought down by number 50, Marshall Lee.
Seeing both these teams mixing up their personnel packages here early in the season. Hamilton that time going with the extra heavy set. Nate Dumoulin-Duguay, their 6th offensive lineman in the ball game, along with Litre. A little extra blocking support. Now it's Giovanni Robinson in at tight end.
Robinson listed at 6'8", 252. Sparingly used as a pass catcher, but tons of potential there as they'll release it here. Mitchell looks left and rips it out. Tim White makes the grab before he's wrapped up and thrown down. Derek Moncrief there to finish off the play. And Moncrief believes it was incomplete.
Looks like the officials having a little discussion here. I think Derek Moncrief is correct.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Third down.
Tim White wants a challenge, but I'm not sure that one's worth the challenge.
Yeah.
Only a couple of yards, although he's probably just upset he had to bear the brunt of getting wrangled down by Derek Moncrief for an incomplete
if I'm
pass.
taking a hit, I'm getting a catch.
I better get the yardage out of that thing. Well, Tim White's had a lot. More than 1,100 yards in each of the last 3 years. The only other player in Hamilton history to have 4 straight, if Tim can do it this year again, is Darren Flutie, 98 to 2001.
Yeah, the Flutie brothers weren't bad at football. Had the chance to play with both of them in my career.
Yeah, Scott Milanovich eyes this one down. Conversation there on the Hamilton Tiger Cats sideline. And the field goal unit comes off once again, so unless they decide to do some tricky business here with 2:12 remaining, it looks like Hamilton will not hold a lead on the road at McMahon at any point in this first half unless they get the football back. And Mark Leggio a little bit busier, I'm sure, than Scott Milanovich wanted to get things going in week number 1. Sent this one away from 37 yards. Hacks it high into what is now a howling wind at that end of the stadium. And it is good, so a 1-point Stamps advantage.
Well, both teams definitely showing some ability to move the ball at times, which we had anticipated when you look at the offensive personnel for both of these teams. Give that young Calgary defense a lot of credit, though. They've bent but have yet to break.
Vernon Adams Jr. here in the season opener for the Stampeders. 3rd time in 4 years he's played in the Calgary season opener. 2022 with Montreal, 30-27 over Bo Levi Mitchell. The Calgary Stampeders. 2023 with BC, 25-15 over Jake Mayer. So this guy knows a thing or two about Calgary Stampeders season openers. This is just the first time that he's playing at home. The season opener for the Red White, as he looks to take a shot with the wind in his back down the left sideline, and it looked like Tevin Jones was home free, had beat coverage, and VA knows he just missed that one.
Yeah, Jones just streaking down the sideline. Lines up off the line, a little bit of a using the waggle to get that running start, which allows him to get a step on Jamal Peters there, but just unable to connect. That one glancing off the fingertips.
Impressive acceleration from Tevin Jones to beat Jamal Peters, one of the better covermen in the league. Run away from him for a couple of steps there. We'll go back to work on 2nd and 10. Underneath, Diedrich Mills into the backfield, and one-on-one with Ray Wilborn. Won the spot, that weak side linebacker at a Ball State in his 2nd year in the CFL, and barely gets the first down, gets out of bounds, stops the clock.
And this is just good awareness of the game situation for Diedrich Mills. Knows they're trying to manage the clock, but fighting to get that first down nonetheless.
VA with 2 interceptions here in the first half, but that great start, dealing with pressure for much of the second quarter, is Reggie Beggleton. Can't hang on to it. Was distracted by Deshaun Amos flying upfield that time on the bubble screen.
Yeah, that was exactly it. Amos didn't appear to touch the football, but he certainly did enough to impact Reggie Beggleton's concentration on the pigskin coming his way. With Brandon Dozier and Amos coming upfield off the edge on that strong side. Maybe he did tip that one, just affecting the flight of the ball.
Hard count here from VA. Flags fly on both sides of the field. They'll flip it into the middle of the field. And for now, Stavros Katsantonis has got his 2nd interception of this first half. And I think this one is coming back against the Hamilton Tiger Cats for jumping.
Or is Stavros Katsantonis on pace for a 72 interception season?
Offside, Hamilton, number 90. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
You see Kendricks tucked in behind down in the 3-point stance. Looked like the one who flinched early there.
It's By the way, I'm not good at math, but last night Alexander Gagne, 7 special teams tackles for the Montreal Alouettes. 7 in a game.
That's a career for some guys.
Somebody do the math on that one for me. What are we on pace for? VA once again, pressure on, and down he goes. And is that Isaiah Bagna? And it is the rookie and a BYU 9th overall pick in this year's draft.
Yeah, you're going to see Bagna loop inside here. Alberta kid, no doubt. Has some friends and family here watching. Started his college career at Boise State before transferring to BYU.
What a great moment for him in his first CFL start. As Tim White goes back to return this one, and this time Muzzin unable to pin the Hamilton Tiger Cats down inside their own 5 like he did previously. But there's the Rook. Big smile, as he should have, on the sidelines. And Vernon Adams Jr. frustrated going back to the tablet.
Take a look back at the first of his career for Isaiah Bagna. Second round pick. We weren't really sure how things were going to go for him on draft day. After limited participation in the CFL Combine, got nicked up a little bit early on.
Levi Mitchell hands it off down that rail. A couple of yards on the play, rolling towards a minute left. But yeah, Bagna came from that Big 12 pro day, right, and showed the effort to at least be up there and do the interviews with all the teams. But it was a stacked defensive line class this year in the draft. So there was a lot of different options. He ends up going 9th, and here he is on game day, week 1, getting a sack. The Hamilton Tiger Cats offense content to drain a little bit of clock here before they shift into motion, and Bo empties it out 3-by-3, and this one dropped. DeAndre Smith off the mitts again.
Yeah, in a hurry to try and run before he had secured that one. He knew he had those red jerseys bearing down on him.
Second 2 and out for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's not that they haven't been able to sustain any drives, it's just they haven't been real long ones, which has led to those 3 field goals. Bo talks it over on the sideline for the Stampeders. You're just hoping that there's a big gust of wind. We ended the season last year with a big gust of wind in the regular season. Oh, and now Constantino's going to go for a little jog out to his left, and he won't get to the first down marker. And the special teams unit delivers for the Calgary Stampeders. Craig Dickinson coming over from Saskatchewan, joining his brother staff here in Calgary, now in charge of the special teams for the Stamps. And they're all over that one. Gary Johnson Jr., free agency signing from the Ottawa Redblacks.
Things breaking down. You could see Constantine, who looked like he wanted to pull up and kick that one on the move, but surrounded by red jerseys at that point.
Vernon, a great opportunity here to punctuate what's been at times a struggle in this first half with a couple of turnovers. That's a good start. Tevin Jones inside the 30, first down Calgary.
Yeah, Tevin Jones. It's that quick slant. Big body boxing out.
Good for 17 yards. Now VA looks to his right, comes back left, perfect spiral, gets it out to the hands of Dietrich Mills, who quickly is becoming a very dangerous check down threat because he runs downhill hard, catching it out of the backfield.
Yeah, with that play breaking down, Jonathan Moxey from his corner position was able to get a little bit of a jump on Mills to stop him well short of that first down. Didn't let him get up ahead of steam.
They whistled it in quickly, so VA had to get to the line. Pressure on. He throws to the blitz. Reggie Beggleton, 10. Cuts back at the 5, and he's stacked up. Well, the clock will stop as they set the chains here. Up and around the 6-yard line, and VA threatening after another gain of 18.
And nice job there. We saw Dedrick Mills' receiver on the previous play. It was Dedrick Mills' blocker who helped enable that play to Beggleton.
Handed off inside. Mills turning the legs. Can't get there. Nice job by that Hamilton interior. Looks like a timeout. Yep.
Calgary
has been called by the Calgary Stampeders. So out comes Chris Fortin and William Longley, the fullback and extra offensive lineman, and Jalen Philpott and Clark Barnes head to the sideline.
11 seconds to go here. Critical play for the Calgary Stampeders with an opportunity to take a 2-score lead into the half.
Delmonico, offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, dialing things up in concert alongside Dave Dickinson.
Now by personnel, indications are that this ball's going to stay on the ground, but what does Pat Delmonico have up his sleeve?
Casey Sales right in the middle of that Hamilton defensive line, digging in, seeing if they can find a stop somehow here at the end of the first half. Mills gets the football and has his second touchdown of the ball game.
Get behind the left side of this offensive line. They load things up, double on the nose. Good patience there from Dedrick Mills. So often in those goal line situations, you feel this urgency to just try and pound it in there. But he allowed the blocking scheme to develop in front of him, finding a path of what I'll call less resistance into the end zone.
And all of that coming back to the rush right up the middle, and the Nick Constantino punts. Couldn't get it away, pulled it down, tried to get away, couldn't get the punt off, and great field position for the Calgary Stampeders. They take advantage with a quick touchdown drive. Unlike their first of the game, it was just 45 seconds until Dedrick Mills punched it in.
Yeah, washing things down. He ends up going in behind the block of the rookie Chris Fortin, second of Calgary's 2 first-round picks this year.
Strikes me as, you know, we're here celebrating 80th birthday of the Calgary Stampeders and all of the great power running attacks that they've had throughout history. That you bring in Vernon, it's very exciting. You got the new fun toy, Dom Rhymes. Yeah, that's great. The first overall pick, even though he's not dressed tonight.
Still got plenty more to go. Let's go.
Damian Elford, and here we are with a ground and pound. It's the old school Stampeders attack. Like when the guy next to me used to be running the rock.
Coming back out of halftime, same shit.
Listen, I was just blocking for other people to run the rock. Let Kelvin Anderson do his thing. As you saw a great collection, the names of former Stampeders up on their wall of honor.
You were having some flashbacks pre-game standing down there.
A little bit, all positive though.
A lot of history in this building with this organization. The 2024 Stamps missed the playoff for the first time in 2 decades. Trying to get back into the dance this year. Long way from that, but a good start as flags come down on the wooden return for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And they'll sort this one out. There is no time remaining on the clock right now. Levi Mitchell wondering whether or not he's going to get another touch of the football or head right down the tunnel. Bo never shy to have a conversation.
No. No, Miles Brown, one of the newcomers on that
Holding
Calgary D-line.
Hamilton, number 88. Half the distance to the goal. There's 2 seconds left.
backed up. You expect would be conservative here, but Scott Milanovic, you saw him taking the headset off there, obviously frustrated by the way that sequence unfolded at the end of this first half. And being doubled up right now, but still a ton of potential in this offense that they have yet to unlock. As we see the Mitchell girls there celebrating and supporting Dad in his old stomping grounds. And Bo Levi drains a couple seconds, takes the knee, and these clubs will head to their locker rooms. 18-9 Calgary up over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, powered by Dedrick Mills and the power running game of the Stampeders.
Yeah, Calgary started off throwing the football so well, throwing the ball against the wind. But as things bogged down a little bit, had some trouble throwing. Dedrick Mills proved to be a pretty good plan B for the Calgary Stampeders through that second quarter, in particular punching in a couple of first half touchdowns. We saw him get it done through the air. We saw him as a blocker as well. Terrific start to 2025. And he's now with our Tom Gazzola.
Dedrick, big touchdown, 10.5 there. I'll start with the play from your special teams. How huge is that to get things going there?
Hey, man, that play was big, man. It allowed our offense to come on the field and just go to work, man. And so that's what we came out and did and scored on the opening drive, man. I just love it, man.
I know it's the start of the season, a lot of new faces around here, but how's the rhythm of the offense feeling with VA?
Hey, man, it feels like better than ever, man. We got a rhythm and a beat going right now, and we just can't fall off of it. We just got to stay focused and keep our head down and keep playing our game and just come out with this win, man.
All right, appreciate the time, Dedrick.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, let's set it up to Kate and the panel.
Now back alongside Enoch Mwamba, David Sanchez, Paul LaPolice. We always have a rhythm and a beat on this panel, don't we? And this is David Sanchez's dream when we start a halftime this way, talking about a defensive back. And Stavros Katsatonis, he was phenomenal in that first half and just making Vernon Adams' life miserable.
Yeah, I mean, Stavros, 3 times he was robbed by the Bakersfield Bandit, and one of them got called back. But VA, I think the first time VA was fooled by Stavros. He looked like early on he was down low, then he rolled back to single high. This is a later one, but he was down low, then he rolled back to single high coverage. I think he fooled VA, and then later on you saw him in the middle of the field. That's the one there where this one gets called back. But anyway, it was cool to see Doug Flutie in the booth, the legend Doug Flutie. What a long career he's had. Doug Flutie played with Dwayne Ford in Calgary. I watched him as a kid growing up in Vancouver, and then 10 years later, he's my teammate for 2 years in San Diego. But it was really cool to see Doug talked about how great VA was. He actually called the blitz, but VA is an immense talent. If Doug's saying that, you know it's real. And then he also, though, if they can eliminate the turnovers, VA in this offense, you got to feel really good about what they're going to do because they have the weapons. You see how great VA can be. They just have to eliminate the turnovers.
And you heard Dedrick Mills talk about it. He talked about rhythm. And I wrote this note early in this game. The hardest part in the CFL calling plays is when you are not in rhythm offensively. And when you are not in rhythm, it's miserable for everybody. But they looked in rhythm early in the game. VA was able to pre-snap, know where he's going with the football. He was able to use his legs. Now, last season, the Calgary Stampeders were the worst team in the CFL second down conversions. This, early in the game, looked great for them. What happens later in the game? Dedrick Mills gets unloaded. 10 carries, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. So the combination of Dedrick Mills running the football and VA knowing where to go quickly, getting the ball out of his hands, using his legs is going to help this offense dramatically. And obviously, as you say, when pressure shows up, though, that's when quarterbacks get in trouble.
You're talking about rhythm of the offense, and that's the problem right now with the Hamilton Tiger Cats as well. And look, coming into this game, everyone was so excited. Bo Levi Mitchell and Kenny Law. Look, this is overreaction first half, first week. Let's say that for sure. Enoch, we know, though, that Bo wants that connection. You could tell in the first half. But as you said, I like what you said. Sometimes you have to let it come to you. And there's a lot of weapons on this Tiger Cat team.
Exactly. I mean, if the word is rhythm for the Calgary Stampeders, the word is going to be balance for the Tiger Cats. And we know, yes, Kenny Lawler's a great receiver. Bo Levi Mitchell's a great quarterback as well, future Hall of Famer. We know that. But he's going to have to also find the balance between all the receivers that he has. And that's on Bo Levi Mitchell as much as it is on Scott Milanovic. I mean, you got Tim White, you got Shamar Bridges, you got DeAndre Smith. I felt like this first half, the Tiger Cats were really trying to force the ball on Kenny Lawler. Yes, he's a great receiver, but you have some great guys right now on the roster as well. If you look across the board, Tim White right now is leading the team in receptions with 34. I mean, it's the first half, yes, but again, if they can find a balance in that offense, also involving Greg Bell, he's going to be tremendous player in this offense. If they can involve him as well as the other receivers outside of Kenny Lawler, the field is going to open up for this beast.
And the point you make about the deep plays, looking, trying to get Kenny the ball, the great thing about getting Greg Bell in that offense, he's great out of the backfield. So when they're playing that deep coverage on Kenny, the checkdowns are there for Greg Bell. Bo will get really used to using him, and this offense will open up.
Yeah, for Hamilton, there's second down conversions. They're 3 of 10, so they got to get better. They get more plays, and then they can take those shots.
You know what? Not to pump your tires anymore on this show, Ches, but you did say when you looked at Kenny Lawler's over/under in receiving yards, you were like, it was a monster number.
Yep.
But we all know this can change in the second half. Calgary with a nice start in this one. We have more on the 2 Canadian QBs right after this.
Opportunities right in front of ya. Can't stop now, you're too close. Keep planting seeds and watch them grow. Rock, yeah, rock. Come on, I'ma show you how to rock, yeah, rock. Come on.
Well, look at the regular season resumes of both Trey Ford and Nathan Rourke. Ford has amassed over 800 rushing yards in his past 2 seasons, averaging 9.3 yards per carry in that time frame. Lions fans hoping that Nathan Rourke will return to his 2022 form, a whole off-season training camp this time around. Plenty of time to build chemistry and learn Buck Pierce's playbook. It is the first time ever in CFL history 2 Canadian QBs square off in week number 1. We could not be more excited for this one. Lapa, when it comes to Trey Ford, they gave him the 3-year extension. It's great when you're a backup quarterback, but now he's the guy, and they need him to be in Edmonton.
There's a lot of things I liked watching him last year. I thought he grew in a number of ways. Now, as a coach, when you have people come up and say, I got a quarterback for you, I usually break them into 2 categories. You either have runners who can throw the football or throwers who can run. The difference is the runners, they can't throw the football, right? The throwers who can run, Davis Alexander is a thrower who can run and add some things. Trey Ford, I wasn't sure what he was, but last year, his processing speed, his ability to get the ball downfield, way better. So I'm impressed with this player. I think he's going to be able to transition very well in this new system. And the biggest thing this team will do, explosive football plays. He can scramble around, create explosive plays, and get the ball downfield. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah, and I think early they tried not to run him too much because he can make plays with his legs anytime he wants. I think they really want to get him settled in the system and work on his timing because we know in money time, down the road, he's going to run the ball. Looking at the other side of Nathan Rourke, a lot of talk, and I'm sure we'll talk about it at halftime of the next game about Nathan and how he's looked, and then after the game, it'll be all about Nathan Rourke. But I'm not as concerned with Nathan. I'm concerned about Broxton, Woodruff, Couture, Schlev, how do you say that name? And Allen, Schluger, and Allen. I mean, that's who I'm concerned. That offensive line in BC is really what, if he has time, he'll have success. Schluger, my apologies, my man.
The thing about it is, for both of these guys, the stakes are high, right? The stakes are extremely high. They both need a big game to start off this season because they got to win the locker room as well. Beyond just the game that they got to win, they got to buy in. They got to get the buy-in from the locker room. I mean, if BC loses, everyone's going to say, hey, should we have kept VA in our locker room? Was that the right move? And if it doesn't, they don't win also in Edmonton, they're going to be like, is he really our guy? Is he him? Is Trey really him? And so there's going to be a lot going forward with this team going forward.
Is there anything better than Overreaction Monday, by the way? I'm thinking one of these 2 teams.
One game, we're terrible. One game, we're great.
Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Don't worry, it's an 81-game season, everyone. Tonight, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. I don't know if anyone has heard, but guess who's performing?
Some dog?
Doggy dog.
All right, don't go anywhere. I can't believe you guys sang that. Kudos to these guys. Kudos to the players who sang on Friday Night Football. We got a great game in Calgary. 18-9. We'll get you back to McMahon after this.
Yes.
Welcome back to Calgary in Week 1 action. The Calgary Stampeders controlling much of the yardage. You see it there, the advantage, 252 to 141. Also first downs. Time of possession, close. But the Hamilton Tiger Cats trying to crawl their way back into this one. Bo Levi Mitchell is with Tom Gazzola.
Bo, it was tight until that last play. Tight first half until that last play. The special teams play allows them to punch it in. How would you describe that first half of ball?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I don't put down the special teams. I put down another dropping the ball and not continuing to move the chains there. It's our job to finish that quarter with the ball in our hands. Reward the defense for how they're playing. They're playing great. Special teams, I'm sure they had a bit of a mishap there, but that's on us.
It's smoky. You're getting some wind gusts here and there. How much does that affect the play in the offensive package?
Man, it's football, playing the weather.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All business there from Bo Levi Mitchell as he wants a win badly here at McMahon Stadium, as the Hamilton Tiger Cats will take the football here and the wind at their back, so trying to make the most of it in this third quarter.
And certainly flashes from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but just that inability to finish, moving the ball into scoring range, but a lot of Mark Leggio kicking field goals rather than extra points.
We'll see what they can do offensively. Hamilton again won 5 of 7 games to end 2024, but their final record, well, that was the problem, 7-11 by the end of things as they began the year super slow. They want to get off to a hotter start this year. Well, that's going to happen right now in this second half as this kick bounces up in the air. It's up for grabs. Calgary makes contact first. It's rolling along the ground, and it's on the ground. 3 different Stampeders are on top, and Hamilton wanted the football and the wind, and they got nothing, with Keelan Thomas from the Okanagan Sun coming up with the football.
And it almost seemed as if there was a lack of urgency or understanding from the Hamilton Tiger Cats there of the fact that this is a live ball. Johnny Augustine, the returner on that side, lets it bounce. Short kick that hung up in the wind, that there is an opportunity as well for players in the upper rows of the return team to maybe play the football. Just heads up special teams play from the Calgary Stampeders.
Treasurer Antwi, the man that touched it first. Anthony Federico fought through as well, and then recovered by Keelan Thomas, and now looking for his 3rd major of the day is Dietrich Mills. Has a gain of 12 all the way down to the 1-yard line. Heavy team comes out, and for the first time, that will include P.J. Walker coming off the sidelines as Vernon Adams Jr. goes to the sideline.
Calgary Stampeders wasting no time here in the third quarter, going into attack mode. And special teams, you think about the way the first half ended and the way the second half started. Special teams, a massive story right now.
P.J. Walker, the talented pivot out of Temple, goes to the left-hand side. Flags come up, touchdown Stampeders, as they turn the tide against the Tabbies to open up the second half.
Hamilton, defensive
Offside,
line.
Tiger Cats.
Decline. Touchdown.
And the advantage grows for Calgary.
Just seconds into the third quarter, the Calgary Stampeders add to their lead. Back-to-back touchdowns created by big plays on special teams for the home squad.
Good job. P.J. Walker gets to celebrate short yards. We thought we'd see Quincy Vaughn, the 3rd-string quarterback, handling short yardage responsibilities, but Walker looking quite under control to get his first major of 2025 as Rene Paredes knocks through the extra point. And the moonshot kickoff, skipping backwards and being chased down in the drifting wind at McMahon Stadium, all leads to a quick drive. But here's a good look at Johnny Augustine just not jumping on it right away, and Antwi taking advantage.
Yeah, terrific heads up from a veteran guy in Jeshurun Antwi out there on special teams. Going and getting that one. Keelan Thomas with the recovery. P.J. Walker has his first in the Canadian Football League.
You know what I know we both love about that too, because we love what the CFL is about here in week number 1. You got Okanagan recovering it. Anthony Federico played for the Hamilton Hurricanes before he went to Queens.
There you go.
So he was a junior football guy as well. He was diving all over that. Jeshurun Antwi had to go through the regional combines. Wasn't invited to the national despite being a Vanier Cup champion. It's like you got 3 dogs that are just scrapping away to make a roster.
Yes, sir.
And all 3 of them have to contribute just to get possession so that you can go and get a major to open up the second half.
We'll see if the Hamilton returners adjust a little bit for this wind. Creep up their alignment.
There it is. Hammers it the opposite direction this time, so Wood will take it out to the 40 before he's hacked down. And a big special team tackle that time. Jacob Roberts in on it, but plenty of miscues.
And there you have early drop. Second quarter drops as well. You heard Bo talk with Tom about that. Failure to keep the drive going that put special teams in a tough situation and led to that turnover. That was how the first half closed. This was how the second half opened.
So safe to open things up, and the turf monster catches the toe of Greg Bell, so minimal gain on that play. Sets them up with second and long once again. But this is really an emphasis for both of these clubs, obviously missing the playoffs last year, Dwayne. But basically, Dave Dickinson said, we know we got to grow together because we got a lot of changes here, but we don't have very long to be able to get this right. Scott Milanovich said, we can't start 0-5 again.
Yeah. Yeah, can't get yourself into a hole. You know, every game counts 2 points, whether it's in week 1 or week 9 or week 21.
This one in behind Kenny Lawler, incomplete. Hamilton 0-4 in their last season openers. And Calgary has won 2 of their last 3 to kick the seasons off. So Hamilton has struggled out of the gate as of late. And that continuing right now, down 25-9, but plenty of time left.
So you'll see Flo Orimolade, that great bend, dip in the shoulder coming off the edge.
That first step being back in red and white's making a lot of people in this stadium smile. As this punt from Nick Constantino, carrying with the wind, and rolls out the side of the end zone. 85-yarder. And so Vernon Adams Jr. gets the football back, and it will be Stamps possession when we return to McMahon. Vernon Adams Jr. just 4 touchdown passes away from 100 in his career. Had none in that first half. 2 interceptions. It was a bit up and down at times, but as always, showing the playmaking ability to open things up down the field, Dwayne.
Yeah, and I think that's to be expected when you look at the early part of the season and consider the changes, right? I mean, you're talking about not just Vernon Adams coming into an offensive system in which he hasn't played before, but
use the legs here, slides down after a gain of 5 yards. But you were saying, yeah, the playmaking ability and the inconsistency is normal at the start of a season.
Well, yeah, and we had the conversation with Dave Dickinson this week where one of the things he talked about was the fact that they have an entirely new quarterback room. And so from a teaching point of view and so on, there's no going back and referring to, hey, do you remember when we did that last year? This concept that we did a couple of years ago, this is very similar to that. Everything is new in terms of teaching the offense for Vernon Adams, even though he's a veteran guy, working with a largely new group of receivers outside of Ryan.
Oh, blitzer comes free, Destin Talbert, and VA just has to get rid of it that time. Reggie Beggleton in behind Kyle Wilson.
Now, this has been the Achilles heel for Vernon Adams in the Calgary offense. It's been when Hamilton gets into a situation, particularly with the secondary blitzes. We've seen Talbert and Stavros Katsantonis coming on those blitzes, and here you see Talbert coming from depth up the middle. Situation where the running back Mills has to pick one. He's got a couple of guys coming. Talbert comes late, so the offensive line isn't squeezing to him. It's certainly affecting the location of that throw.
You got to wonder how much of 15 years worth of practice against Dave Dickinson, the Calgary Stampeders offense. Brett Monson goes, you know what beats this? Secondary blitz. Let's just load this up. They have been incredibly aggressive and gotten lots of influence on Vernon Adams Jr. Just a 32-yard punt that time from Muzzin as it dribbles into the hands of Wooden, who steps out of bounds. And Bo Levi Mitchell and the Hamilton Tiger Cats looking for a major to get this season going for the Ticats. Well, a special emblem on the back of the Hamilton Tiger Cats helmets here this evening, a guitar, and that is for Ted Gavaya, who of course is the new general manager of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Loves all things guitar, has one in his office, has kind of bonded with players around the organization in his first couple of months with the team building out this roster. And Ted and the Tiger Cats announcing that he has cancer this week and is getting some treatment and is staying home off the road in order to be able to take care of himself and his health. And we're thinking about you, Ted, and hoping that everything is smooth sailing moving forward. He's going to attack it and get back here on the road with the team that he has helped to build, that he really wants to see come to life moving forward.
Yeah, Ted, a long-time fixture in the CFL, particularly in scouting circles, so a regular for us, and doing the combine circuit, U Sports East West Bowl, etc. Just a guy I really enjoyed spending some time with, talking to at those events over the years, and just to echo that sentiment, best wishes to Ted in this battle.
Can't wait to see him back here in the stadium as soon as possible. As this throw high and away, and knocked away from Kenny Lawler, so incomplete. As you see the changes that Kavaya has made in this offseason, and there's a certain Winnipegness that comes with this.
Yes. 10 guys who were with the 2024 Winnipeg Blue Bombers, where Ted Kavaya was the assistant general manager. He comes over to Hamilton, and it quite honestly speaks a lot about the way that Ted builds relationships with players, that 10 guys follow him to his new team in free agency.
Brooks catches this one back at his own 10-yard line, bobbles it. 68-yard punt and great coverage down the field that time by the Hamilton Tiger Cats special teams unit, coached by Dennis McKnight. But the old double catch back year 10, not a great field.
Yes. Yes, afraid to take your eyes off the ball, but you really want to know just how close those guys are. They're bearing down.
Vernon with a long field in front of him here. And the Calgary Stampeders trying to get back 28 players who weren't on their opening day 2024 active roster on this team. Now 18 on defense, 10 on offense. It has been an overhaul and trying to find their rhythm. You heard the panel at halftime talking about getting into rhythm, play calling, and making sure everybody's on the same page. That's even harder when the energy starts to get zapped out of the stadium here, even though you're up 15.
You see the focus there put on trying to shut down Dedrick Mills in the run game. They know where they've had success defensively, and it's been when they've been able to force that Calgary offense and Vernon Adams into second and long passing situations where they can then crank up the pressure a little bit.
Stands right now, Dominique Grimes just one catch for 15 yards. That was back early in the second quarter as Hamilton comes to the secondary blitz again. They can't pick it up, but they screen right into it. And Mills has got an opportunity. If he gets a couple of blocks, they pick up the first down. And a nice play call that time. Calgary saying, okay, you want to send secondary pressure? Well, how do we try to solve this conundrum?
Yeah, nice adjustment. You see Dedrick Mills starts off in the backfield with his quarterback, show block, slip out behind. Nice block there from Reggie Beggleton on Kyle Wilson, the middle linebacker, helps spring Dedrick Mills to pick up a first down here.
Bryce Bell, Christian Kanu also getting upfield as Bell replaces Sean McEwen, who moved over to Saskatchewan in free agency. Now Jedrin Antwi, difference maker, chasing down that opening kickoff of the second half with the first touch, keeping the football alive, which Calgary recovered and then went on a couple plays later to score their first touchdown of this second half with. But there's Devin Verzak, the second overall selection.
Yeah, we mentioned a couple times Damien Alford, the only guy chosen ahead of him in this draft, starts his CFL career on the one-game injured list for Calgary. Big receiver out of Utah, but the Windsor linebacker, Devin Verzak, phenomenal combination of athleticism and size.
Reps here defensively, not just on special teams, which he already, they believe, is an elite special team, or as a first down here with VA escaping the pocket using his legs, and is able to find Jalen Philpott for the conversion.
And Jalen getting some touches. We saw brother Tyson with the first touchdown of the Montreal Alouettes season last night in their victory over Toronto. Here you get a look at Verzak, middle linebacker, getting on the run.
Vernon Adams Jr. crosses 200 yards, now up to 207 as the secondary blitz comes again. They run right into it. And flying in that time was Brandon Dozier as he wraps up behind the play.
Yeah, Dozier proving to be a nice pickup shortly before training camp this season. Reggie Stubblefield, an intriguing off-season signing for Hamilton, had a terrific rookie year with Montreal a couple of years ago, injured right at the start of last year, essentially missed the entire season. But high-level guy, they anticipate him playing some at that nickel spot, but Dozier, an experienced guy.
Blitz comes free again from Talbert. They miss, and up the field now it's Tevin Jones, and VA's legs. That's what it's all about right now for Calgary, because they can't sort out this blitz from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but Vernon, a little bit of magic.
Yeah, and this is, again, a big part of why Vernon Adams was a guy they targeted in the offseason. They feel PJ Walker has some of this as well. Jake Mayer, obviously a very good quarterback in the Canadian Football League, has enjoyed much success, but doesn't have the same level of mobility, and sometimes when other things are breaking down, you have to resort to plan B, which is to get on your horse, and few do that better than Vernon.
Heavy blitz look here, and in behind the line of scrimmage, it's caught. But Dozier brings down Reggie Begelton. This drive started back at Calgary's own 14-yard line. They're going into the wind. They already have the advantage of being one score up after that special teams challenge that Hamilton had to open things up. So Calgary definitively right now is winning this third quarter, even just by flipping the field position.
Yeah, no question. Right off the bat, set that tone.
Heath play the drive coming right now after a loss of 5 into the hands of Reggie Begelton. Shadows getting longer here at McMahon Stadium. Just a 3-man rush, multiple spies though, as Vernon now is going to take off, and the spies can't catch him. And on 2nd and 15, VA goes for a jog to the first down marker.
A terrific recognition here as Vernon Adams gets on his scramble. Dominique Grimes is on the left side of your screen. He's got that check release. He recognizes what's going on. See there, he looks back and locks onto his guy. That block helps allow Vernon Adams to take enough of an angle to get upfield and move the sticks.
So with a fresh set of downs and 3 receivers to his right, Vernon will hand it off. Diedrich Mills following his blocks. Verisuk, the closest Tiger Cat that time, as Mills turned the legs for 7.
And we'll watch to see what impact this heavy dose of Diedrich Mills in the Calgary run game may have on the Hamilton defense as we start to get here to the late stages of the third quarter, make our way into the fourth.
See Casey Sales adjusting the helmet there as he's been getting rocked around inside with this interior rushing game of Diedrich Mills and the Calgary Stampeders. Hard count this time, and a mess up front. Who jumped?
Procedure, Calgary, number 54. 5-yard penalty, it remains 2nd down.
So we'll get the right tackle that time, Joshua Coker.
That top of your screen. Coker a little early. You see Casey Sales letting him know.
2nd and 8 after the penalty. Draw handoff. Mills makes a man miss in the hole. Gets outside to the 30, 25. They'll pick up 10 yards on 2nd and 8. Calgary's running game having its way with the Tiger Cats right now.
Diedrich Mills having himself a day, and I appreciate the way that Calgary has found different ways to get him the football, and particularly when you know he's the guy that's really rolling here today. They've had trouble, those 2nd and long situations. You know Hamilton's coming with the blitz. We saw a big gain on a screen there, a nice pickup on a draw, doing the things they need to do to combat blitz and do so effectively.
Mills goes to the sideline here. Joshua Antwi into the ball game. Little stretch handoff to the outside. Tries to find the edge. Cuts back. And Kyle Wilson, the middle linebacker, back into the ball game alongside Verazuk this time in a substitution package. The one that brings down Antwi, but a 7-minute drive here going into the wind as it's picked up in the second half.
Well, we talk so often about dealing with the wind when you're going against it. You want to slow things down, eat up time on the clock, limit the other team's opportunities with the football. Calgary had that terrific quick start to the half, where it was kind of like, great start, maybe not how you want to eat up time, but yeah. But here doing a fantastic job of playing to the situation.
Hard count, nobody jumps. VA looking downfield to throw, and just off the same page that time with Tevin Jones. And Vernon frustrated. Thought he had something there. The defender, looks like Jamal Peters, slipped down onto the turf. So after a 12-play drive, the field goal unit has to come out.
And there you see that one falling short. And you wonder, throwing into the wind, if that impacted the throw for VA at all.
He wanted that one, even being up 15. So Rene Paredes comes out once again. 229 games played consecutively, number 8 all time.
Should be a separate list for kickers.
Wow, really?
Just love them, need them, just say it, separate list.
We'll call it the Louis list. How about that? Paredes adds on 3 more, 28-10. The Stampeders in control, just like Montreal was last night against Toronto. Certainly something to celebrate right now with the Calgary Stampeders up on the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but much more than that here today. The 80th birthday celebrations. Alex Singleton in the house, sitting right there alongside Doug Fluke, Mark McLaughlin, Marcus Crandall. I mean, everybody came back for this one. 80th birthday, why not?
8-0, a big one there. You see Nick Lewis, Jermaine Copeland joining the party. A couple great former Stamps receivers.
Family of Normie Kwong as well was just on the big screen here during the commercial break. As Bo Levi Mitchell flips it over the top, and Tim White looking for a little bit more as he tries to get out to the 55. And just shy. But yeah, great to have so many different Calgary Stampeders that have made their way back in the organization. Of course, proud history and trying to get back to the standard they've set for so many different decades of making sure that people know that this is one of the truly special organizations, and not just the CFL, but Canadian sport in terms of tradition, longevity, all the rest. Is you see the Kwong family there. After handing out some t-shirts and getting the crowd fired up as Bo Levi Mitchell drifts this one to a name we haven't seen much of tonight. Shamar Bridges has been persona non grata most of the afternoon.
Yeah, trying to fight his way back to that one as the throw came up short. You saw Bo couldn't step into that one with a defender in his face. Rimolade bearing down quickly.
Lauren digs in here on 2nd and 10, trying to go get Bo. A flag comes up. This hangs up in the air. And it is brought down. Keandre Smith found it through the sun. And we'll sort out the flag here with referee Justin McInnes. Looks like they're talking to the Calgary sideline, so likely against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, just awaiting a signal here. Looked even like there possibly could have been a hold.
Offside,
yeah.
Hamilton, number 4. 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat 2nd down.
Brendan O'Leary orange. There you see the receiver out ahead of the football.
He gets tagged on that one. Sets up 2nd and 15. Mitchell rolls to his left, looks down the field, takes a shot for Lawler, and just overthrows him, incomplete. And the punt punting unit will have to come out once again with 29 seconds remaining, and that'll be Hamilton's last possession with the wind at their back.
Yeah, and you wonder if the wind worked against them on that throw. Bo on the run, that one sailing a little bit beyond streaking Kenny Lawler. Flush from the pocket, Arimawade again supplying pressure from the backside.
Frustration starting to settle in for the Tiger Cats offensively with 10 points on the board and no touchdowns. There's wind at his back. Constantino will hang this one as high as he possibly can and hits at the 5 and rolls into the end zone. And out of the back with 6 seconds remaining in this third quarter. And so a single on the board. Hamilton gets one more, 28-11. Vernon Adams Jr. trying to punctuate the 80th birthday celebrations here at McMahon. There you see Jermaine Copeland hanging out. Nick Lewis right there as well, as we flash it back to what a good player Cope was, man. Like, just so smooth. Like, I gotta admit, you know, of this era, at this time I'm playing high school ball, and I remember turning on the CFL and watching and just going, why is that dude always open?
Yeah, such a dynamic duo. He and Nick Lewis were very different players, but Copeland so productive, both in Montreal and, of course, during his time as a Calgary Stampeder.
Good to see them coming back and having fun here in Calgary. Now VA over the top. It's completed. Clark Barnes running away from Jamal Peters. And down to the 5-yard line goes the former Guelph Griffin. A 65-yard bomb with VA evading the rush again.
Well, Vernon Adams making it happen with his legs. And a terrific adjustment to the football at the tail end by Clark Barnes. Stampeders pressing yet again here to start the fourth quarter.
The numbers after 3 quarters of play. The biggest one, a 28-11 advantage for the Calgary Stampeders, who last year ended with a victory, but before that it was a 9-game winless streak going into the finale. And of course, they want to be able to get things going. Vernon Adams Jr. has been the key to this in the entire offseason and building things up. But really, it's been a full team effort. Special teams, defense getting stops, and of course the running game.
Yeah, very much a work in progress. We've talked a little bit about Vernon extending plays with his legs. Diedrich Mills having a terrific day. The special teams plays that end of the first half, start of the second half, I thought really kind of changed the momentum, or at least took control of the momentum of this ball game. But the management to the wind, you saw in the stats there, not just the time of possession. I mean, Calgary has a 10-minute advantage in time of possession through 3 quarters. They've been against the wind for 2 of those quarters, but also 10 points into the wind in that third quarter.
Vernon Adams Jr. after the 65-yard completion to Clark Barnes, hands it off, and into the end zone, it's Diedrich Mills once again. He's got 3, and number 3 approves. Vernon Adams Jr. watching on as the running game dominates.
Diedrich Mills has got himself a hattie. Third of the day. Watch the offensive line go to work here.
Wow.
Fullback William Longley as well. Doug Flutie, still a Stamps fan.
There's been a lot of Stavros Katsantonis trying to find a way to bring Diedrich Mills down today. Never a good thing when your free safety is dealing with the running back as much as he's had to. As Benny Paredes knocks through the extra point once again. The advantage swells, but really up front, it's been impressive from the offensive line. You know, we talk all about Diedrich Mills, but to your point, Dwayne, it's like up front, body on a body, moving people left, right, and center.
Yeah, and this is an offensive line that lost a pretty significant piece in Sean McHugh, one of the top centers in the Canadian Football League. He moved on to Saskatchewan in free agency, but that group looking like they have not missed a beat.
Hey, man, we eating around here all fucking day. Hey, what we just did. That's it, man.
special teams unit for the Calgary Stampeders. Going to try to pin Bo Levi Mitchell and the Hamilton offense once again with the wind at their back and squeeze any life out of a comeback attempt. So with that 65-yard completion, Clark Barnes did reach the 100-yard mark for the first time in his CFL career. Talented third-round pick back in 2023, reaching the dollar bill for the first time. A couple of big splashy plays as Vernon Adams Jr. broke the pocket. Scramble rules were on. Isaiah Wooden turns this across the 20 to the 25, and all of a sudden, Isaiah Wooden is going to get a major for Hamilton. 105 yards to the house. And the Ticats have some life.
And that one just kind of came out of nowhere for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Isaiah Wooden runs into the pack, takes a hit, and somehow comes out the other side, and he's behind everybody. There was no second wave. Didn't seem to be any kind of safety over the top. And this guy loves it.
11 kick returns for touchdown total all of last year. We saw some great returns from Mary Alford in Saskatchewan the other night. Some big ones in the Toronto-Montreal game last night, but none better perhaps than this. Certainly the longest, had 17 touchdowns in his NCAA career over 2 years. 0 of them were on returns. Well, he's got one in the pros.
Shannon Froland of Victoria, BC. This is your chance to win big. You have won big. You've actually won groceries for a year thanks to Save On Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. Congratulations, Shannon. If there's another kickoff return for a touchdown in this game, you could also win $1 million.
Quite the prize, and Isaiah Wooden making his mark in his CFL debut as you say, Dwayne, just casually kind of going to the crowd here. He's been looking for the opening all night long. And bop! Oh, look, there's an open door.
Yeah, and it almost seemed as if maybe some of that second wave of Stampeder coverage guys thought the initial contact was going to lead to Wooden going down. And, you know, this is a guy, we were down at field level prior to the game, and you think so often about many of the returners in this league being more diminutive guys. Wooden's a pretty thick dude, and basically ran through that contact.
Into the wind, pretty good kick here from Hamilton. Trying to answer the call back the other way is Calgary with their return game. A flag comes up. There's 3 touchdowns.
Holding. Calgary. 47. It's 10-yard penalty. First down.
3 touchdowns for Dietrich Mills. A super impressive effort.
All very similar. Stamps and fairly predictable run situations when they get in close, but they have executed, managed to get the job done every time.
In control, certainly. So Vernon Adams Jr. probably was thinking he was going to settle into a nice 80th birthday celebration here on the sidelines. And hey, PJ Walker, you go get some reps at the end of this one. And all of a sudden, kick return from Isaiah Wooden. And nope, back to work.
Life in the CFL. Never easy to close out a game.
Changes quickly. He's got a long field to deal with, but that hasn't been daunting for Calgary all that much tonight as they begin, as they have much of the evening with the inside handoff here. Going between Jezron Antwi and Dietrich Mills. Antwi gets the call this time.
Yeah, Mills getting a little bit of a break over there. You know, an interesting sort of roster management move for the Calgary Stampeders this year, going out and signing Jezron Antwi, a proven guy, proven he can handle the load as a starter at times. Obviously a very solid backup running back, as we've so often seen Calgary dressing 2 American backs in recent years. this kind of frees up an American somewhere else because Andrew's able to fill that role.
No doubt. Is this one, dangerously thrown outside. As Isaiah Begna was close to that one, intended for Jalen Philpott. I'll say this as well, our game that's going to round things down tonight in week number 1. We're talking obviously about Canadian quarterbacks. Love seeing the Canadian quarterbacks. It's straightforward. It's Nathan Rourke. How about Sean Thomas Erlington last night for Montreal, just inflicting his will on everyone? You got Jedrin Antwi out here pounding the rock. There's a lot of really good Canadian running backs as well across the
just, I mean, Canadians at skill positions in general, right? Such a big part of the evolution of the game, and guys now getting an opportunity to make their mark at all of those positions in the CFL.
Wooden thought about going for a double house call. 54-yard punt flag down. We'll sort it out when we come back on the other side of things. But Hamilton with possession, a little bit of momentum here after the big return touchdown. 80th birthday celebrations continue here at McMahon Stadium, and it is the 65th year of the Calgary Stampeders being here at McMahon as well, but you wouldn't know with all the work they're putting into renovations. Tom Gazzola has more.
Yeah, Marshall, a little bit of love into the old barn, and a new field turf that's been installed here at McMahon Stadium. It looks good. More importantly, it feels good. The players are very much applauding this new field turf, and it'll help reduce ankle injuries, knee injuries, not just for the Stamps, but of course opposing players as well. And then you go inside the building, upgraded facilities for the Stampeders, some new workout machines, the weight room gets an update, and then more importantly, maybe for some, is the Players Lounge getting a facelift, and then guys creating chemistry, playing ping pong. I know that's huge for some teams. It also creates some animosity too.
Absolutely, Tom, as we see flags come out here, defensive pass interference likely against Shamara Bridges trying to make the catch. But Dwayne and I play ping pong before every single game. I mean, that's the rule. You instill that culture, that habit of competition.
Well, it's just about time
Calgary,
together
number 6,
with the team.
10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
But it is a great way to be able to keep people in the facility, be around each other. And it was great to hear Vernon Adams Jr. say, how are we supposed to get to know each other if we're not in the same room?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this isn't COVID anymore. We're not on Zooms where we're trying to learn the playbook. It's we can stay in the locker room, we can hang out, we can talk, we can chat about our families, we can share food.
Yeah, no, this is exactly it. I think the Stampeders recognized that they needed to improve the environment, so to speak. You know, obviously improving facilities being a part of that, and made the investment this offseason.
And part of the reason that came up as well was the CFL Players Association grades, right? Where they didn't do spectacularly well, and they knew that there were certain areas that they needed to refine and find improvements.
Reset the clock to 12 minutes, 19 seconds.
It's obvious that the organization and its leadership are listening.
Yeah, and I think that's the critical thing, right? Is not turning a blind eye to that feedback, but responding positively to it. Much credit to Dave Dickinson, John Huffnagel, Jay McNeil, and the leadership of this team.
Low snap this time. Mitchell picks it up, pressure on, and he flops it out somehow. It ends up in the hands of Brendan O'Leary-Orange, but a frustrating rep that time as Coulter Woodmansey shuffled it back into the legs of 19.
Coulter Woodmansey playing center full-time this year. Tiger Cats lost one of the best in the league as David Beard elected to go back to Edmonton as a free agent. Woodmansey slides over from guard to center.
Get up, get up, get up!
And Greg Bell makes the catch, dives for the first down marker. We'll see where they spot it. Looks like it's just about a yard shy. So third down here in their own end of the field, but trailing with 11:37 remaining in the fourth.
And we've seen Bell stumble a couple of times in this ball game. Wonder if that's one of those new turf effects.
And Mitchell stays in, but Antti Litre, the short yardage quarterback, is in as well. I wonder if he'll short motion under center here. He does. Takes the snap, plunges his way to the left, and Litre doesn't want to go down. What a run.
You said you wondered, but I felt like you knew. Marsh, good call. Little misdirection there, perhaps, from the Tiger Cats, keeping Bo Mitchell in the backfield. terrific run there by Litre.
It seemed like that long ago that Litre was doing that for Calgary, dragging people behind him. But now in Hamilton, as this one skips into the turf. Oh, incomplete in the search for his 100th victory. Would be the 10th CFL quarterback to accomplish that feat, but he needs better throws than this to make that happen.
Yeah. You see his frustration knowing he just came up short on that one.
Bar Bridges and Kenny Lawler, the wideouts. Tim White and DeAndre Smith working together, you see at the top of your screen as well. DeAndre wants to go quick. Bo gets to the line. Gets the four-man rush. And up for grabs. Lawler brings it down. Makes it look easy, but that is not a simple catch in space. Settling down. Trying to find the football in that fading sun here at McMahon.
Yeah, just keep an eye on Flo Rimolade coming around the edge here again. Gets that shoulder dip. And initial contact up high on Bo Levi Mitchell. You saw Bo grabbing his leg there as Rimolade kind of slid down his body. Initial contact definitely above his waist.
Yep. Mitchell across the middle. Tim White trying to run away from coverage. Big contact there in the rallying defense of the Stampeders. Micah Tights alongside Roberts and Arnold.
Yeah, here you get Tim White coming left to right on your screen on the crossing route. Tights picks him up. Funnels him into some help.
Tights, 18 games played in his first season with Calgary after coming over from Saskatchewan. Doing a good job now. Looking over the top is Bo. A little off on that angle, the corner route that time as Damon Webb coming down alongside Sheldon Arnold, one of the newcomers in this Stampeders secondary.
The Stampeders young at those halfback spots coming into this season. Sheldon Arnold out of Central Florida. Seen him in on a couple of plays. As well as Jalen Grant on the other side.
Crowd gets into it, trying to hold Hamilton off here, threatening. Trailing 35-18 are the Tiger Cats. Bo looks to his right, quick throw, complete. First down on third down. They'll move the sticks. Lawler cashing in his fourth catch.
There you see Lawler up towards the top of your screen. Starts off on the line of scrimmage. Get the first down yardage and turn.
And if you're saying this doesn't feel familiar, well, that's because this is the first time that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have been in the score zone here today with 8.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. Pressure on. Mitchell looks outside, bobbled, and, well, they say caught by Brendan O'Leary Orange. Looks like he held on to it, bit of an awkward one.
Yeah, O'Leary Orange did well to stay with this one after the initial bobble. But kept his eyes on the football as Derek Moncrief wrapped him up.
Now Mitchell hands it off to Greg Bell, lost his footing, his good penetration into the backfield, and Calgary thinks they have the football. Clarence Hicks was the first man in. That made Bell have to spin around, and getting up from the bottom of the pile, it was Miles Brown at the end of that play. Officials having a discussion.
Yeah, we'll see exactly when the ball comes loose here. This is going to be an interesting one because is it Bell's hand that's down, or did his forearm touch before the ball came out?
Replay official Dave Foxcroft, no doubt taking a look at it back in the command center.
The ruling on the field is that the ball carrier was down with contact at the 7-yard line. It'd be third down.
So maybe they're saying his elbow was down as the ball popped out, and Miles Brown made contact with him while his elbow was down.
Please reset the clock to 8 minutes and 1 second.
If it's just his hand that's down, he's considered still up.
Right.
But there, his knee was down, but nobody touched him.
strikes her out. Don't open that box. Whatever you do. Mitchell. On third down, takes the shotgun snap, hands it off to Greg Bell, tries to run to the left. And on third and a couple, a red wall appears. A turnover on downs. The Calgary defense holds strong against the man that led them to 2 Grey Cups. Bell trying to get outside. Hicks turns it inside. Roberts right there, and Lee finishes it off. Calgary football. We return. Massive stop here for the Calgary Stampeders, trying to shut out all hope of the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the running game, Dwayne.
Yeah, watch for middle linebacker Markel Lee. Joined the team in season last year, getting an opportunity to be a starter at that middle linebacker spot here in 2025. Flowing to the football, getting in on the play.
Former 5th-round pick of the Raiders, the 29-year-old out of Baltimore, Maryland. Comes to the CFL, and week 1 makes his impact.
Hurry up, man. Let's go.
Now Vernon Adams Jr., the Calgary offense backed up in their own end. Trying to get a little bit of breathing room with 7.5 remaining in the 4th quarter. Go back to Dedrick Mills, see what else he can create in this ball game. 16 carries. He's got 90 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not a hugely explosive day, but he's had moments of dominance.
And we've talked a little bit in this game about the importance of situational play, being successful, doing what you need to do in a specific moment. Here, when you look at the field position for Calgary, they've got to get a couple first downs. They've got to swing the field to ensure that if they are giving the ball back to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they're not giving them a short field. Don't make the comeback easy.
Go to the secondary blitz again, and it's the worst possible situation. Safety as Kendricks flies in and makes the play. 2nd year in the CFL, Mario Kendricks. And exactly what you're talking about, Dwayne. Don't give any life in the CFL with 7 minutes remaining in a 15-point game.
And big play there from Mario Kendricks. He's going to work inside on his rush here. Again, looked like a little communication issue on that offensive line.
Ruling on the field is a safety. Calgary's going to kick off.
Kendricks got passed on, no one there to pick him up. Kendricks, by the way, along with Casey Sales and the injured Luke Brubaker, the only holdovers from Hamilton's defensive line group from last year. And they overhauled it last year, where Casey Sales was kind of the only guy that they had kept from the previous season. So still looking for the combination. Kendricks certainly doing his part to try and be part of the answer.
Tons of changes on both sides of the ball for both of these teams. You can see how much happened here for Hamilton. What was coming in, what was going out. I mean, it's line play, it's receivers, it's defensive line, it's pass rush, it's defensive secondary, it's the running game, it's all of it.
Yeah, significant players in both directions.
So now Calgary will tee things up, and Wynn still at their back. And Hamilton had their best drive of the ball game going into the wind at McMahon Stadium as it falls off the tee for the first time, and we got ourselves a 2-score game with 6:43 remaining. As you would expect with so many changes on these rosters, inconsistency, trying to get into a rhythm just when you think you got it, all of a sudden something goes awry. These teams battling through it as this one goes over the head. Johnny Augustine overran it, has to go back to his 9-yard line and pick up the football, and then he gets a little bit of breathing room and somehow makes his way all the way out to the 35-yard line. So Bo Levi Mitchell, the artist of so many comebacks and games decided in the final 3 minutes when he was wearing Calgary red and white, trying to get onto the doorstep and makes this an issue for the Calgary Stampeders now as the visitor.
Yeah, their first green zone visit of this ball game results in no points, a turnover on downs. Calgary looking for their first, Hamilton rather looking for their first offensive touchdown of this game.
Lawler settles down in between the zones, picks up the first down immediately. Moncrief makes the tackle after a gain of 12.
Derek Moncrief, best known for his time in Saskatchewan and Edmonton.
Snap up to Mitchell, pocket collapsing to the outside. Shamar Bridges, Hamilton's Rookie of the Year last season, makes the grab. He had 120 targets last year, 83 catches, close to 1,000 yards, and that's his first catch of the ball game.
Yeah, en route to a 1,000-yard season for a late season injury. Derailed those hopes. Different role for him as he's the guy who moves from the boundary to the wide side with Kenny Lawler's arrival.
Flags come up. Last year in week 1 here in Calgary in the season opener.
Hamilton, number 53. It's 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
As that one will back up the Tiger Cats. Brendan Bordner, second year out of Florida Atlantic University. I'd be nervous too if Lauren Arimlada was across from me.
Exactly what was running through my mind.
Last year, week 1 in the season opener, I was saying Shamar Bridges, 11 targets, 7 catches. Just had his first, but Keandre Smith getting into the act here as well, crosses midfield. That'll be enough for another Hamilton first down with 5:19 remaining.
Well, the Tiger Cats staying alive in this ball game. Just need to find that end zone. You know, I know for Calgary, probably the biggest concern coming into this game was all the new faces on defense, but they have held tough through 3.5 quarters.
This is where it gets interesting for Calgary with all those new faces on defense. How long can you sit back? How well do you know each other to know when to press or to sit back? As now into coverage, knocked away. Kenny Lawler, the intended target. Jaden Grant flying up from his field halfback spot at Oregon State, breaking up the pass.
And here you see Bo sees a window, steps up. Yeah, terrific coverage on the play.
Portland, Oregon native makes the play that time. 5 of 18 are the Tiger Cats on second down. Still have 20 points on the board thanks to a big return from Isaiah Wood, but this one flops up into the air, incomplete in between multiple receivers. And with 4:35 remaining, down 15 points. Levi Mitchell staring at the sideline.
Yeah, third down means you're staying on the field, given the situation. Another throw that just appeared to get away.
Mitchell, deep drop, pocket collapsing, flips it out to his left. Flag comes up in the secondary while Keandre Smith rips his way up to the 40-yard line. He got 11 yards on third down for the conversion, but what's the flag?
Illegal contact, Calgary, number 9. Penalty is declined, first down.
Damon Webb protesting the penalty, but it's not going to matter as the Tiger Cats picked up first down yardage regardless. Nice move here by Keandre Smith to duck under the linebacker Micah Tights. Fight for that first down.
Bridges all by himself up at the top, one-on-one. Mitchell looks to his left-hand side again, rolls away, and this one goes high over the outstretched arms of Keandre Smith, incomplete, and second down and 10.
Yeah, if the Tiger Cats are going to get this done, they're certainly doing it the hard way. Mitchell again flushed out of the pocket. Ball sails on him a little bit as Keandre Smith is coming back.
Scott Milanovic said he just wanted Bo to have his feet in the right place, but a little bit of that gunslinger mentality creeping back in. The body memory maybe from being here at McMahon. As he steps up and looks downfield again, now Bo's going to go for a run. Slides his way down inside the 30. And whistles coming as it looks like after an 11-yard rush on second down. Hamilton called timeout.
And I like the decision making here from Bo. Eyes downfield.
Hamilton, timer please put 3:37 on the clock, 3:37.
We saw him a couple of times with some throws on the run in those kind of situations, scramble, where he wasn't able to get the ball quite where he wanted. That time he saw a lane, he took it, enough for the first down. Just moved the sticks. Live to fight another round.
11-yard rush for Bo Levi Mitchell is Hamilton's second longest run of the ball game. Earlier, Tim White had that end around that went for 14. They have not had chunk plays in the running game. Really haven't leaned on it all that much either. As Mitchell right now 25 of 38. 226 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. You got to think he's going to need at least one touchdown if Hamilton is going to get back into this one with contention to win. Bridges, little inside-out move, and it turns north-south up near the 20. And they'll give him 10 yards on the dot, but it's good enough to move the chains once again.
Yeah, don't forget about that guy on the outside, Bridges. Has two deep routes to his side. He's the outlet. Just curls inside. Nice inside-out fake there. Derek Moncrief to bite, bought himself a couple yards.
10th play of the drive here. Mitchell looks left, comes back right, flips it across his body, incomplete. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats are both making their life difficult with bad downs and distances on second down, but also living dangerously.
And a drive that is probably taking a little more time off the clock than they would like. They need a couple of majors.
Calgary crowd on the 80th birthday celebrations here at McMahon. Get into it as Mitchell organizes his receivers. Andre Smith crosses the formation. And Mitchell looks left. Kenny Lawler catches it at the 5. Dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Tiger Cats. And Lawler's first in black and gold comes on the road with the old Stamps quarterback on the other end.
Still down 9. You're going to see Calgary keep the offense out there and go for 2. Thought he might look to Keandre Smith in the flat to the right, but that was almost a bit of misdirection, pulling attention that way with Smith with the pre-snap motion. Locks in on Lawler to the other side.
Tiger Cats 4 for 11 last year in 2-point conversion attempts. They'll go for 2 right now. Litre is in as the H-back. Greg Bell right there as well. They'll show run and then flip it out into the flats, and the defense rallies, shutting the door right at the goal line. And it's Tyler Richardson coming up from his boundary corner spot.
Yeah, I mean, this is outstanding. Just taking care of your responsibilities for Tyler Richardson.
So Hamilton gets the touchdown to close down the Calgary advance, but Litre, the ex-Stampeder, that close to a 2-point conversion. Richardson says no way. 11 plays, 75 yards, and Hamilton finds their way into the end zone. 35-26 is the score with 2 minutes, 34 seconds remaining, and Kenny Lawler able to dive into the end zone. The 2-point conversion no good, but here comes the onside kick attempt. As all the training camp work on special teams Gets put into practice against a different color uniform. It's high in the air. Leggio hangs it. Collision, but it's brought down by Tevin Jones, and now a flag as it looks like Shamar Bridges might have got a hand up high.
Good execution by the Calgary hands team.
Face mask, Hamilton, number 89. 15-yard penalty, first down.
See, Tevin Jones is the guy they're trying to protect. Kenny Lawler looked like he got a shot in there off the edge, but wasn't able to jar the ball loose. There you see him getting a face mask in on Jones. His initial tackle attempt.
And again, another one of those things that you work on in training camp is how do you manage the end of game situation where you're up by very little. A couple of minutes left in the ball game as VA holds on to the football, gets rocked from behind, and this one flies up into the Calgary bench.
Yeah, Adams getting rid of that one as he got hit. You see Deshaun Amos, the guy who delivers the shot as Adams throws that one away.
Looks like Deshaun was waiting to. Why isn't Vernon getting rid of it? It's like I can't pull the trigger on it if he's going to get rid of it, but he never did. Until the very, very end. Only 5 completions in the second half for Vernon Adams Jr. Leaned on the running game significantly. But still, some frustrating moments for him in the Stampeders debut.
Yeah, and this is a situation, I'm sure, for Vernon Adams.
Hamilton, timer, please put 2 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock.
He would have liked to have closed this game out on offense by putting together a little bit of a drive, maintain possession, take some time off the clock. Even if it still resulted in a Rene Paredes field goal attempt, they'd like it to be a little later and a little shorter.
So out comes the ageless one. He's had a pretty good night for himself. Up and down the board here this evening. 2 for 2 on field goals, but handled the kickoffs as well. As you see VA trying to reset, stay positive on the sideline. Last year in the season opener, Paredes was 6 for 6 with a long of 52. Tonight a long of 42, and this one will come from inside of that 38 yards away. And Rene restores the advantage here. Well, it's been a long night of celebration on the 80th birthday for the Calgary Stampeders. There's one more that I want to make sure we get in here tonight. There's my man.
Yeah, that's my highlight reel.
That's my man.
1 yard run.
21, 22, 21,
Longest
22.
run of my career, right?
Whammo!
Well, that was a game winner. I do remember that one.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
Hey, you get to enjoy the Stamps birthday celebrations. It's awesome.
Yes.
It's great to be back with the CFL on TSN once again this season and be back in the booth and get to enjoy great back and forth games just like this, but plenty of celebrations going on around the league, of course, including Hamilton. We're talking about the Stamps and their celebrations all night, of course, but Garney Henley's number getting retired in Hamilton next week against Saskatchewan, June 14th. And now the question becomes, is Bo Levi Mitchell going to have to try and take down another one of his old foes?
Yeah.
In the Rough Riders to get win 100? I'm sure he wanted to do it here where he got so many of those victories for Calgary, but we got 2:16 left to find out the answer to that. Couple of tremendous games over the last couple of days. Saskatchewan, Ottawa. The Riders hang on, move to 1-0 on the season. Montreal in control over Toronto last night, and after this one we get to find out what the Canadian kids got in store. Trey Ford and Nathan Rourke coming up when we round things down at McMahon Stadium. And a solid return here for the Tiger Cats. All the way out close to the 50-yard line. But how's this for a nightcap? The Elks and the Lions, Trey Ford, Nathan Rourke. You know them, you love them, You love watching him rip the football around. Two Canadian quarterbacks going head-to-head in Week 1 for the first time in CFL history. Week 1 wraps up, coming up next. Looking forward to seeing that.
Love seeing it in Week 1, but, you know, should we maybe have postponed it till Canada Day?
Maybe we'll get it again on Canada Day as Tim White bobbles this one and falls to the turf. For all of you CFL historians out there, and I know there are many of you, of course, the last time the CFL started Week 1 with two Canadian quarterbacks, 1968 Russ Jackson, Frank Cosentino, but they didn't play each other. That's why this is a first. Week 1 Canadian quarterbacks playing each other is coming up next with Rourke against Ford. And who knows, maybe one day we have a Rourke versus Rourke.
Well,
as a season opener. I'm wishing the best for
Curtis
down south. But
trying to become a San Francisco 49er first.
Mitchell rolling to his left, pressure on, and Waller very nearly hung on to that one, but hot on the heels of Bo Levi Mitchell was Jalen Hutchings.
Bo Mitchell takes another shot on this one. I'm sure he could feel the big fella's breath on the back of his neck.
That's where you're going. Climb the pocket, climb the pocket. I'm out of time. Get rid of that thing before the big man tracks me down. Mitchell on 3rd and 10. Up for grabs. Knocked away. Shamar Bridges and Adrian Green had a really good night starting at the field corner. Had to make a lot of big open field plays. And he makes another here to shut things down on the Tiger Cats.
Yeah, and we'd seen Green make a number of starts in BC over the last couple of years, but typically not at corner. But Calgary deciding, having drafted Ben LaBrosse in the first round last year, clearly making field corner a Canadian position in terms of their deployment of the ratio. Adrian Green, Ben LaBrosse, Godfrey Onyeka, all on the roster, all guys capable of playing that spot for the Stamps.
Arna Jr. with the speed tying of the shoelace, so he can hand it off inside. So much turnover as we've talked about throughout the afternoon and evening here in Calgary for these Calgary Stampeders, but finding a way to gel and come away with a victory, it gives you a little bit of momentum going into the next week, which for Calgary will be on the road in Toronto. So a road challenge coming up, East versus West, back-to-back weeks for the Calgary Stampeders to get 2025 underway. Second down, back to Antwi. Turns the corner, gets a little push.
As we see the Stampeders get into run mode here, trying to close this one out. Getting some action for number 19, Quincy Vaughn, listed on the depth chart as the 3rd quarterback. But Vaughn finished his career at North Dakota as a tight end, played a lot of quarterback, particularly as a short yardage quarterback, and the Stamps see him in that role, but a guy who is capable of also contributing as a tight end, fullback, H-back type in this offense, and that's what he's doing here.
DJ Walker in his short yardage, not Quincy Vaughn, although Vaughn is on the field. You see him there, number 19, Dwayne's talking about. You wonder if they just don't necessarily have him up to speed. Oh, uh-oh, Doug's signing some footballs.
Let's
rip
see if Doug's still got an arm.
I mean, the other hand arm is great.
That was adjusting to his receiver, though.
That's true.
Strictly through underhand based on the receiver.
Yeah, if he goes overhand and, slips through the hands, bad look, right?
Absolutely the most competitive guy you could ever imagine meeting. Doug talked about the fans cheering for him because he was a little guy, blah, blah, blah. Doug was an easy guy to root for because that competitiveness always showed through.
Yeah, and genuinely you can tell how much Doug still enjoys coming back to the CFL. as they're challenging the spot here from the short yardage sneak of PJ Walker, but you get a chance to see how much he just enjoys being around, having conversations with people, signing things for them. Like all these years later, he just loves being around the Canadian Football League.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fantastic success here that also revived his career down south.
As your guess is as good as mine in that mosh pit.
Yep, spot it where you will. We'll take your word for it.
See Miles Fox coming over the top, doing everything he can to try and turn PJ Walker backwards. Dave Dickinson still coaching hard right to the very end, up by 12. Said at the end of last season, I remember doing one of the final games of the regular season, they said, I want to be here, I want to be the coach of this team, I want to lead the turnaround, I want to get back to the playoffs, I want to win a Grey Cup as the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. And so going into week 1 here, you can tell he's reinvigorated because there is a massive challenge in front of him leading this team back to the top.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It'll be first down, Hamilton.
So the Tiger Cats get the football back, trailing by a dozen with 1:05 remaining here in this fourth quarter.
One last gasp for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, for the fans that stayed right to the very end of the fourth quarter in this one, enjoy a beautiful sunset, but also get to see Bo Levi Mitchell in desperation mode. Could spell some entertainment in the next 60 seconds as he looks over the top. Up for Lawler, incomplete, and again, Adrian Green right there. Plays a lot bigger than his 6'1", 189 frame.
Yeah, Green does a nice job here. Kenny Lawler, always a tough matchup on a 50-50 ball, but Green gets position. Makes a play on the ball, stays with it despite Lawler coming over his back.
Remember watching Adrian Green at the regional combine there in Waterloo and going, that's a really good athlete.
Yeah.
Not sure where he's going to fit in, but it's great to see him 4 years later right here in Calgary doing the job. As Mitchell rolls to his right, flag comes out and slides down. Bo's got the first down, but is this coming back on a hold?
It's just been that kind of day for Bo Levi Mitchell.
Hamilton, number 64. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat second down.
Coulter Woodmansey, the center, replacing David Beard in a battle upfield that time, and gets called.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this Hamilton team, that there just haven't been the chunk plays that you might have anticipated for Hamilton, given the yardage Bo Levi Mitchell put up last year. You know, the two big targets in Kenny Lawler and Shamar Bridges. Tim White, obviously a pretty good deep ball threat as well. Brendan O'Leary-Orange among the top guys last year in the league in yards per catch as well, just in a smaller sample size.
Shamar Bridges makes the grab out to the 40, so they get a chunk of yardage back.
Credit the Calgary defense under new coordinator Bob Slowick for preventing the big plays.
Yeah. Certainly thought we'd see more of them. The Tiger Cats passing attack here tonight, but work in progress as you would expect in week 1 is Tim White on third down, does move the sticks. It is a first down once again. Trailing by 12 with 33 seconds, his 30th completion of the ball game for Bo Levi Mitchell. But we did ask Dave Dickinson as well, what have you had to change about your coaching style considering how much changeover there is in this roster? He said, I've been in more meetings than ever. I'm not trying
particularly defensive.
Not trying to influence. I'm not trying to micromanage. I just need to be present. I gotta be in as many rooms as I possibly can. As Brendan O'Leary-Orange makes the grab inside the 35. And the defensive backfield talking it over for the Stampeders of where and when to be.
Yeah, they hate to give up the yardage, but in the grand scheme of things, they're going to let people catch balls in front of them.
Mitchell taking a shot over the top, trying to send it high for Lawler, and incomplete. No flags down. As Bo Levi Mitchell is over 300 yards in this ball game. 304 as it stands right now on 50 passing attempts.
And just taking a shot on the deep ball here.
Illegal contact, Calgary, number 48. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
There was a flag down.
Yeah, so away from the throw.
Bo goes over 300 passing yards for the 49th time in his career. He did it 9 times last season. And starts off 2025 with another. Will they be empty yards? Certainly feels like that at this point. Once this game wraps up, flags come down. Likely holding calls as once again Mitchell runs his way out towards the sideline, and with 1 second remaining in the ball game, they'll sort out the penalty yardage and likely send the black and gold back one more time.
And Dedrick Mills and his
Hamilton, number 53. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat first down.
His offensive lineman enjoying a moment. Big day for that group. Big part of today's win for the Calgary Stampeders.
Somehow, some way, because numbers are cyclical, almost even in first downs. Because the end of the game, Hamilton's just been turning them out here. But Calgary really in control for much of this ball game. Last play before we send off to Edmonton against BC, barring penalties, they'll just go Hail Mary, stack it up into the end zone, up for grabs, tipped away. It is incomplete. And the Calgary Stampeders hold court at home. Vernon Adams Jr. and Bo Levi Mitchell immediately embrace each other. And Bo unable to get the victory at McMahon Stadium that would have earned his 100th as a CFL quarterback. Dwayne, final thoughts?
Yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to the Calgary Stampeders defense in particular for me, because this was a young group. Didn't allow a touchdown. Again, maybe bent at times, but didn't even come close to breaking, quite frankly. So a much needed start for them, and a work in progress offensively, but Vernon Adams making some plays, doing what he did with his legs, and Dedrick Mills in the offensive line. Big day for that group in support of their quarterback.
You can see the honest conversations happening down there with a lot of new faces and new places, and trying to sort out exactly how they're going to work together. As Edmonton, BC, up next on TSN, the Battle of Canadian Quarterbacks. The first time ever in CFL history in week number 1 that they will go head-to-head. For Dwayne Ford, Tom Gazzola, I'm Marshall Ferguson. Thank you so much for watching the Stampeders win in celebration of their 80th birthday.